from another planet? Is Janet 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 from another planet?
Today's digital landscape with the spread of false information can lead to dangerous outcomes. It's crucial for everyone to think critically and verify sources and reflect on the impact of what they share. Let's promote responsible communication to ensure that truth prevails and actions remain rooted in reality.
The opinions you're about to hear on this show are strictly those of the panel.
The following program is rated TV MA-LSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Janet, tell me, did you see this movie in the theater?
No.
No?
Mm-mm.
Wow.
No, I was just really busy and I never did. I watched it with my mother at her
Okay.
house. She's a big James Garner fan, or was.
Well, the happy part of this is that they both get to hang out and watch us talk about this movie tonight, which I'm sure they're doing. This is a movie that I saw back when it came out initially. I think I might have seen it at a dollar cinema in Corpus Christi because this was about the same time that we were getting ready to go off to Europe. Before we go further, I will say hello to our
when you
friend.
were in the service?
Yeah, when I was in service, I was initially stationed in Corpus or outside of Corpus in Ingleside, but they had a dollar cinema that the second run shows would go to. And it was great. $1 for a movie, couldn't beat it. You could, but you had to be born in like 1950. We had nickel cinemas when I was growing up. No, I didn't have that. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, there were so many surprises in this movie when I watched it again, because I remember watching it a few times way back when I watched it with my mom, within, months, I guess. And then I went all these years and not watched it again. But when I saw it the other day, I was really surprised how funny all of it was. Because I was expecting it, I don't know why, but in the back of my mind, I kept expecting it to be like, what was the one? Lethal Weapon. I think that's the one with Danny Glover.
Yep.
I was expecting his character to be more like that for some reason, even though I'd seen it before. But his calm demeanor and stuff about him was just so romantic. I mean, gosh, he was so good looking and attractive and calm and this well put together from what I remembered about him. As he's gotten older, he just seemed to be more disheveled and out of it. It's almost like seeing him from this movie and seeing him today that he's had some type of a psychosis or I don't know. It's terrible for me to say that, but it's like he's two different people, Yeah. Because I know that when he made this movie, he was married to a woman. I think it was like, they were really young when they met, and they were married for a very long time and had a bunch of kids together. And he seemed really happy and stable and everything in this movie. And then seeing him later on in some of the stuff, just I guess as he became a director and got more famous or whatever, it just changed his outlook on life or something. I don't know, but it was sad to see the transformation. On not that he's aged, because everybody ages. I'm not talking about aging. I'm talking about, I don't know, just little things that you can tell when you watch interviews and things from then until now. It just seems like he just had something bad. I don't know what it was, but something changed in him. And, but I'm glad I got to see him again and see him in this state, because I can see why he became a star. I mean, because the very first movie I ever saw him in, I think, was Mad Max. And I saw that on at home, too. I didn't get to see that at the movie theater. The one I saw at the movie theater was the one with Tina Turner in it. I saw that one at the movie theater, and it was really, really good. I thought all of those movies with him in it were good. But this one, the opening scene where he's on his horse and the guys are going to hang him on the tree. And then that's when the story starts, and he starts talking about how he's having a bad day or whatever. I don't know. It was almost like an old spaghetti Western or
It's like a Western serial.
Yes. Old one, one I remember that my mother was the one that loved the old Western. She loved, like Gunsmoke and I can't even remember some other ones that she used to watch reruns of all the time. I think it was the Four Brothers or something, and they had a big ranch, and you could tell that most of it was on a scene on a stage or something.
Yeah,
I can't remember the name of that show, but my mom liked that. She watched reruns of that, and she watched Hee Haw and stuff, because her mom would come and they would watch them, reruns and stuff together. So that's what I remember coming in and watching my mom with that, watching those kind of things. So that's why that's what it reminded me of, some of those older movies with like Rooster Cogburn. I think that's how you say it.
Yes.
John Wayne movie.
Yeah, I remember.
Okay, so it reminded me of that type of old Western for some reason. I don't know why. I don't know if anyone else saw it that way, but I was taken aback to see after seeing James Garner, because I told you I've seen Victor Victoria like 60 times because I absolutely love that
Your
movie.
favorite movies.
Yeah, it's one of my
that's a movie you can't live without.
it's just funny. It makes me laugh, and it's just the music in it. But James Garner's so young and virile in that, and he's so handsome, and I can see why so many women swooned over him back then. And to see him in this one, it just proved to me that we're all gonna get old and we're all gonna age, and sooner or later we are gonna pass away. But that this is all you leave, is what you do right now while you're here with others. This is it. This is what we share with someone else, and this is how we live on, is our memories of us, in them. Photographs and stuff, but it won't be long, and there won't be photographs that people hang on the wall anymore. They're going to all be on their phones and stuff. So you like die digitally, in a way you think about it. But it was just so nice to see this combination of these three people together, because I think they played so well off of each other. And watching the scenes, the chemical reaction to me, to see Jodie Foster and Mel Gibson together, to me, there was an attraction, even though now I know that Jodie Foster is a lesbian. Okay. But back then, even watching it the other day, I was really surprised that they didn't have some type of thing going on, because they seemed very
friendly with each other.
Yeah, they seemed very attracted to each other. I mean, there was an actual type of attraction. And I remember when all this stink came up about some of the things that came out after he made Passion of the Christ, that Jodie Foster came out and defended him. Some movie that she was in with him with a teddy bear or something. I don't think I saw that movie. Something about him being a conspiracy theorist, or I don't know, some weird movie. He supposedly was No, not that one. It was another one. It's later than that one, because I saw that one too, and that was good. This was later, after he made Passion of the Christ. And it was another movie that had a teddy bear or something. I don't know. I'd have to look it up. I should have looked that up. But I looked up a few things about the movie, but I didn't look that up. But I just remember Jodie Foster, defending him, saying that he's not an anti-Semite and he's not this, a whole bunches of things.
Yeah.
That, that he's just having a bad time, and that people should lay off of him and let him, get his life together or whatever. So you could tell that they still had a friendship after all this time. And I don't know, maybe that's why the chemical reaction I felt when I watched them is still there. They still had that a bond of some sort to make it, that comes across in the movie, I felt. But the whole setup of the story I thought was really, really good. The whole part where you have to find out what happened to lead up to him being on the horse with the snakes.
How did he get strung up?
Yeah, what happened to him and what did he do? And then the whole thing starts coming out about him trying to raise $5,000 so that he can enter in this tournament to play poker. He won one night of poker, and they wind down to the one person that gets to win $500,000, and that's a shit ton of money back in supposedly in the 1800s or whatever. So, or maybe it was a little earlier than that, but I think it was in the very early 1800s. What do you think? I can't remember. Do you remember, or did they say in the movie?
It's supposed to be like 1870 or 1875, I thought.
Yeah, hold on, let me see something real quick. Because I was surprised where they filmed the movie. It said that they
what was the filming location?
I'm trying to find that little piece of paper I got printed out here. Just one second. Let me dig this out.
Yeah. They filmed it in Lake Powell and Warm Creek in Utah.
Oh yeah.
In other parts were like again.
You're faster than me because I had it all printed out. But yeah, and it was at Marble Canyon in Arizona. Oh, it was breathtaking. All of it was so pretty. But it was the steamboat that was so cool. It says the steamboat was used in the film. It was dubbed the Lauren Bell.
Yes.
Was really the Portland. It was the last remaining stern wheel tugboat in the U.S. And it says at the time it belonged to the Oregon Maritime Museum in Portland. It says over several weeks, the boat was decorated to alter its appearance to resemble a Mississippi-style gambling boat, including the addition of 2 decorative chimneys. And it says in August of 1993, the production requested permission to film scenes of the riverboat along the Columbia River in Washington State. The artificial smoke released by the boat's chimney was considered to violate air quality laws in Washington and Oregon and required approval for the scenes before there was scheduled filming in 1993. After filming concluded, the decorations were removed and the boat was returned to its original state. I just thought that was really, really interesting because they are 2 of the hardest states when it comes to the environment. You know, with litter and trash pickup, everything. I mean, and sorting your trash. I mean, they're very, very strict. California is too. So that whole coast basically is like extreme. They don't care about homeless people. You know, it's so funny is they got thousands of homeless people in their cities laying in the streets with needles and feces and everything else. But you can't throw a plastic bottle in the regular trash or you can go to jail. So it's like, wow, ridiculously stupid. But yeah, I just really, I mean, beautiful, beautiful scenery all the way around. And the sets that they had for the first little town that you see him in, where he ends up meeting Jodie Foster's character in the saloon where they're playing poker. I just thought the whole scene with the card game was just adorable to me. The young kid, I'm trying to remember the name of the actor that played the gunslinger. Mm-hmm. That was acting all like macho and he was going to take everybody out because he was the fastest gun or whatever. And then Mel Gibson's character ends up being way faster. I thought that was a really funny scene. I'd forgotten about it. And it reminded me, it was kind of like a spoof of Tombstone, you know, with the part where, God, why do I always do this? I can't remember what his name is now. The gunslinger in that movie that was dying in Tombstone.
Oh, am I drawing a blank here?
That's what I said.
Doc Holliday.
Yeah, Doc Holliday. He reminded me of Doc Holliday when he's playing with his guns when he's drunk, and then he ends up using his 2 cups. You know, the ones he was doing shots with. That whole scene when he said, "Oh, we won't stay in the holster," it keeps jumping out. You know, that whole thing I just thought was very cute. The actor that played the bad Hispanic-looking man, or I can't remember what his name is, that was sent there to basically stop Maverick from being able to be in the game, with any means necessary. Basically, is what the little telegram says that comes through, and you see his face in the reflection on the glass. So, but the whole setup where while he's playing poker, the guys are supposed to bust in and drag him out in the street and have a fist fight with all 4 of these guys and win, you know, basically kick their butt in front of this guy. So I just thought that was funny how he'd paid these guys in advance. Well, how did he know this guy was going to pick on him, you know, or start something, you know? So that, to me, it kind of like messed it up a little bit later when I was thinking about it, because it didn't seem to fit.
You know?
it messed up the plot a little bit right there. Unless he did it on purpose in case anyone at the table that caused him problems would be fearful of him or something. I don't know, but after I thought, I started thinking too much when I'm looking at it to be more analytical to it, I guess, than I would if I was just sitting to enjoy the movie. But it was cute the way that Jodie Foster like fiddled with her hair and stuff while she was looking at Mel Gibson after he did the fight, and he was all macho, and you could see her kind of going, just getting all flustered and stuff over him because he was so attractive or whatever. I just thought that was adorable.
I'm gonna ask you a question, and my wife has her own way of doing this. But when you watch a guy hand another man a thorough ass beating, are you pretty much like impressed by that? Do you view that person as like they're 3 or 4 inches taller?
Yeah, if it's for the right reason. Now, if I'm with a guy and some other people are being assholes and he steps in to stop him from being assholes and take them down a few notches, yes, I think that is very attractive to a woman. A guy that's just a dick to somebody by saying fuck you and pushing him out of the way or pulling the chair out from under him, being an asshole is not attractive at all. If I was on a date and a guy was an asshole to people, I would leave, and I have done that. I have gotten up and left because I don't want to be with a person that treats people like shit. But I'm telling you right now, a guy that would I don't know,
step in and help somebody
that kind
out.
of stuff is very, very attractive. And but the thing is, I've never really went out with a guy because I thought he was really hot. I mean, I got asked out by a quarterback one time, and the whole time he was looking at his hands and talking about how attractive, how nice his hands were and stuff. And I was like, oh God, I never went out with this guy again. I mean, that is not attractive to me. But now it might be to some women. Some of my girlfriends were like, oh my God, he's so good looking. That's all they cared about. And they'd have the person out of a wet sock. And it was like, I'm not I want someone I can have a conversation with, somebody that makes me laugh, somebody that's interesting, that has some knowledge in some aspect of just, flexing his muscles is not, now that doesn't hurt. I mean, even if he's not buff, it's not all decked out or whatever. If he's a gentleman and he's classy by, pulling the chair out, opening the door, not just for me, but for other people, being courteous. I don't know, all those things, I guess, because I'm old fashioned a little bit when it comes to some things. But, I like dancing and having a guy, grab you tight around your waist and swing you around and dance with you and pull you close and want to, kiss your neck, things like that. Romance is like really out of it now. For some reason, it's like men are afraid of women. They're afraid to be manly because they're afraid a woman's going to say, oh my God, I'm going to call the cops or something. I don't know. I don't understand it. I like men. I mean, I want a guy to look at me. I loved it when I would walk down the street and a guy would whistle at me, things like that. I just think it's sad that we don't have it. We're not allowed to do anything like that anymore. You're not allowed to be a woman and you're not allowed to be a real man and show that you're attracted, like going, damn, look at that, or anything, people get pissed off because you are attracted to someone of the opposite sex, which is why I thought this was really cute. The whole aspect of how Jodie Foster's on the little tugboat, that's going to take the stagecoach to the other side of the river, and or whatever you call that little boat, and she's got her arm on Maverick's arm, okay, and he's the, you don't know it at the time, but he's the father of Brett, okay, and then Brett is standing there and he's like, you got your hands full, because he knew that she was a thief, better keep an eye on your wallet and all that stuff. And she's like playing the two against each other, like I don't know. I just thought all that was just really, really funny. And they did it in such a very classy way. They were very I don't know. I just thought the characters played so well off each other and very believable. And I knew that they were, father and son because I'd seen it before. But I remember watching it the first time and not knowing that and not understanding. Now, my mother understood because she had watched the TV show when he played the Maverick character, James Garner's character, you know, the original thing. And I didn't.
That's what I love.
So,
They honored that. They
yes,
honored
they
the fact that
did.
this was a continuation of the story. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think my mom loved the movie. I mean, I liked it a lot. I thought it was a very good movie, but my mom absolutely loved it. She said that it brought back so many memories for her from the show, and that she just thinks that James Garner was such a class act. You know, it's very Hollywood, what Hollywood used to be. You know, he was a real gentleman, and he came across as a gentleman on screen and stuff like that. And I guess back in the time when my mom was young, those things were important for good movies. You know, like the Academy Awards and things. It was very classy. You know, now it's like, you know, whatever, anything goes. I mean, pretty much, I guess. But I don't know.
We have ruined ourselves, and somebody's going to get upset here. I don't care. We've allowed urban culture to become the dominant culture. And that is a shame, because you don't find people in big cities offering to go help, you know, people cross the street, or getting the garbage out for an old lady. You don't have the acts of kindness that you did growing up in a small town, not in 2022.
Well, from where I'm at right now, from where I moved, you know, like I said, I have to drive 45 miles to even buy a bottle of wine now. Okay. So it's it's a dry county. It's very rural. And the people are like that. They tip their hat, you know, they nod, they wave, they say hello, they say Merry Christmas now. But going from the city where people just walk by and they bump into you and they don't even say, oh, sorry, or anything. I still do, which makes it, sometimes they look at me and they do their eyebrows like, what planet are you on?
Yeah.
Because even when I was, you know, down the quarter, and off the beaten path, and you'd bump into somebody, I would say, oh, I'm sorry. And it wouldn't even be my fault. They would run into me and they just look at you like, you know, you're some kind of freak. So, you know, it just depends on the person. I mean, I have met nice people in the big cities and stuff too, but it's more prevalent in places like where I'm at now. It's very down to earth. You know, people are just normal people. They just want to go to work, but they're thankful to be able to have the things they have, and to have the kind of lifestyle they have, where they don't have to worry about, you know, walking down the street and having to clutch their bags to their chests and stuff, thinking that someone's going to rob them at any moment and things like that. Now, I never really got that bad, because I lived in Metairie, and Metairie, it was very, it wasn't rural. I mean, it was a, you know, a big city area, but it wasn't as bad as being down in the quarter. The crime was lower, and you could actually, you know, go outside and not worry about getting attacked while you're walking your dog, you know, things like that. But that's one of the things that I really loved about this movie. It gave me an authentic feel in a nostalgic way, but I could still tell it was a movie because of the I don't know
The
what you call
interactions between the characters are not quite as genuine as like they would be in, say, Tombstone, or even
because
Young
it was
Guns.
more of a comedy, and you could tell that it was like a spoof from a TV show or another story. You know, it was like a retelling.
Everybody was in on it.
Huh?
Everybody's in on it too. Everybody knows that this is a comedy. Everybody's
And
got that like they got the costumes right.
mhm.
The set looks good, but the interactions between everybody, it's like they kind of are insincere, where they're like, in 17 minutes we're going to call cut, and in 2 hours we're going to be getting pizza. Maybe we'll be in uniform
It was
still.
like It was
Yeah.
like they were making a movie about a TV series, and that's exactly what they were doing.
Yeah.
But they added little juicy tidbits here and there, like when he goes into the bank to get his $1,000 from his old friend, and he goes in and he pulls out his gun, and the guy's, acting like he's getting robbed, and the other guy comes in and he's like, we're getting robbed. And he goes like, no, this is my friend. He goes, no, we're really getting robbed. And then you see Danny Glover come in with his face covered up with his, handkerchief or whatever. And then that scene where Mel Gibson's leaning against the desk holding the $100 bill, and the other guy's like got his hands up and he's like all scared. And then you see them look at each other. They're like looking, and then they're like, and then they look away and they look back, like they recognize each other, and then they shake their head. And then he pulls the mask down, and then Danny Glover looks at him like, do I know this guy? And it just cracks you up because you immediately know that they're doing that because they were in the movie Lethal Weapon together, the first one.
In a series.
And then
the freaking movie series.
He blows the safe up and the windows blow out, and it's all this shit going over, and he's running out, and he's like, I'm too old for this shit. And you can't help but laugh because it's like it makes you think of the movie, Lethal Weapon. So I don't know. To me, it was an original. Basically, this movie was an original, even though it was based off of another show. You know what I mean? Because they added so much character and little tidbits of fun from other places and put it in to bring in really good characters to interact with each other. And I just loved it. And I just kept looking for more of it, like more to see what's going to happen next. What little thing are they going to stick in there? And I just thought that was hilarious. And then the part when they start, when he gets out there and he finds his friend, the Indian, what was his name? Let me look it up.
Green.
Yes. Oh my God, they could never do that today in any movie. The stuff that they did in that part about. Oh, wait a minute, I wrote it down. Let me find my piece of paper. Oh, it's so funny. The lines between Mel Gibson and him. Oh, darn it. I hate it. I had tabs on it, and one of them fell off, and now I can't find the one thing I was looking for. About when he was talking to the old Russian guy, and he was saying, "Do you want to kill an Indian?" And he's like, "Is it legal?" And he goes, "White men been doing it for years." It was so terrible for him to say it, but oh my God, it was so funny. You couldn't help but laugh, and because it's so real. I mean, it's factual, and you shouldn't laugh about it. But to see a real Indian heritage person making the joke, and then his best friend is a white guy, I don't know. It was just hilarious. I just thought the comic level of it was so good. And the characters that they picked to play those parts was it was phenomenal. The person, and I think this movie was nominated for a couple of awards.
I think it was.
So I can see why. I mean, the mixture of whoever picked all the different people to portray the characters, and they did such a good job. The way the tents were all set up, and the beautiful background with the children running, through the fields, and his being all dressed, decked out and stuff, and Mel Gibson's character's talking to him, and he's talking about how they're doing having to talk the Indian talk and all this stuff. It was only supposed to be in the 1800s, but he was already being commercialized, to look like the old days of Indians, and it was just, they couldn't do that today without people going, oh my God, that's so terrible for them to do that. And it's just sad that we can't just have a funny script written. And, I don't have a problem with real Indian heritage people playing real Indians, or people from different, cultures playing the actual character that they're supposed to be playing for that culture. I have no problem with that if they can act, as long as they can act, I would be happy with it. And to me, it might even make it more realistic. But I just thought it was genius. I just thought the director did a great job at bringing that stuff out. And then the whole part where the Indian is ripping off, where he's ripping off the guy, hoping he doesn't get shot, you know, when the Russian guy pulls his gun out and uses it to shoot him, and then you see him fall. And for a second, you see him looking at him and looking to kind of see if he's really dead. And then you see his head pop up, and he's like, okay. So he goes and takes him, and he's getting $2,000, not $1,000 or whatever. So I just thought that was funny because everybody was trying to rip him off. Everyone was trying to rip off everybody. And that was another thing that made it so comical to me, was that everybody was in on being thieves, you know, to take from everyone else. And Mel Gibson, for some reason, he was a chump, you know, he was good looking, he was attractive, he was a chump, but he was also a thief, you know what I mean, to a degree. So that whole thing was funny because basically, I guess really back then, a lot of people were thieves, especially if they made a living off gambling, right? So I just thought that whole concept that they put that part into the movie made it so funny. And he got his money. He got some of his money back from that. But that whole scenario with that, when it came later on on the boat, you know, when he sees the Russian guy, they're talking, and he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna get the rest of my money," and he goes up and he just opens his jacket real quick and says "Indian Affairs" on the side. I just thought that was so funny, and I had to pause because I would laugh, and then I have to rewind and watch it again because it would hit me, and then I would remember it, but it was funny, you know, like brand new almost again. So because I'd forgotten about it, but it was so funny. Just little, you know, that's like something you would do on a TV show, but it was also like something that you would see in a couple of other movies that Mel Gibson was in, because Mel Gibson is a very versatile actor. I mean, he can play comedy, he can play romance, he can play drama. I don't know, was he ever in a horror movie? Do you know?
No, but he was in the movie that you probably should see sometime called Boss Level.
No, I haven't seen that one, but I bet he would be good in it. I everything I've seen him in, I think he played a believable. He's just good at playing a good character, at filling the ticket or whatever he's been handed. He seems like he can pull it out, you know, I don't know how he does it. I mean, not everyone can do that. There's very few actors that I think can do that full circle, you know, but he seemed to be able to do it. And even in this movie, like when he does the panic mode, when he's like really panicky, and it seems like he's breathing heavier and faster, and his eyes are darting back and forth, almost like, you know, he's really able to make him look like he's panicking. So I don't know. I just thought he was just really, really very, very good at portraying this character. Like, and the fact that, like, the one scene that I thought was really funny is when they find the hold on for a second, I gotta blow my nose. I'm sorry.
All right, I get a chance to talk for a moment. Oh, nope, there she goes. Okay. This movie's got so many quips, one-liners, amazing bits of dialogue that I forgot all about this film. And boy, kick me, because this is a movie that's worth watching in 2022. Jan had already mentioned the scene between the characters where they're talking with General Cooper, or with the general, and he's kind of like, what's the fine thing to do? Kill Indians. Is that legal? White people been doing it.
Yeah, white people have been doing it for forever.
Yeah. And
okay, I'm sorry. I had to blow my nose. My nose started running. I was like, oh. And then I see someone said, tell me to take a breath, because I never shut up. I'm really sorry about that.
Yeah, you're good. You're good. Janet mentioned every scene. I know. She's already gone through the movie, and we're in the afterwards.
No, I'm not done with it yet. I'm just I just can't help it. I remember little things here and there, and I don't mean to jump ahead, but I get excited about it.
Hi, David Guile. I should scroll through here and say hello to the chat that's popped in. Shadow and Sun, thank you for coming in tonight. Flady1, appreciate you being here. Travis 1975, I didn't realize that you were in the quarter for a while. Good to see you. The Fat Gamer, sir, how are you? David Guile, the creator of Dungeons and Delvers, amazing game that offers you 2 varieties of play, dice pool or standard die 20 version. Six Nation 31 Kings, hello, sir. He's like, reminds me of the summer job my friend and I applied to. The guy offering the job was Shoshone, and my friend, he was being Crow. They joked and looked at me like the white guy wouldn't understand. And Travis says, nope, don't worry, Janet's just getting warmed up.
Oh, sorry.
You're good. You're good. That's one of the big reasons why we get so many good accolades, because whenever I start just painting and letting you go, you take the ball and you go 200 yards past the goal.
I know, I'm terrible, but I can't help it. That's why, and I also like to try to dress up in, to kind of have the feel of what the movie was about. And I wanted to dress up. I wish I'd had something more teal colored, like what Jodie Foster wore, because I even put feathers in my hair, like she had when she was playing poker. But it's hard to see because I don't have my pink background. I'm working on making me some new curtains and stuff for that. But the thing is that when you find out that she is also trying to be in the tournament, okay, and she's asking him for tips because he's sitting there when he swears that he won't win for, I think, 30 minutes. That's what he said. And so he's watching them and learning all their tells. So each thing that each of the people are doing, like her holding her breath or her fidgeting with her hair and clicking her nails or whatever, those are all tells. So I just thought that was a really good thing. And I thought it was really interesting, too, the type of poker chips and stuff that they used. And I was trying to figure out what all of it meant, what the different, like the different shapes and stuff. I didn't understand any of that, but that was really interesting. But that was fun, that whole thing. And then the fist fight and everything that happened. But the funny thing about that whole thing was after he did the fight, he had that dark stain, on his collar, and he was mad because his lucky shirt got dirty, right? So when Jodie Foster goes up to his room afterward, and they have that real, passionate kissing and stuff going on, and she tries to steal his wallet, and so he tells her he's going to turn her in and all that stuff. So she's like, well, okay, I'm really sorry or whatever, I'm not really married or whatever. So she acts like she's going to leave, and then she goes back in, and then they start really making out even more. She's a little more passionate and more, assertive to him. And then she goes to leave, and that's when he realizes she really stole his wallet that time and really got away with it. So he goes out and then realizes that she's coming out the window. So he's able to stop her from taking his wallet. And then he leaves her his shirt. Because she's a woman, because he said that. See, he couldn't do that anymore either, which I thought was funny. Because he said, well, I'm a guy and I'm not that good at this stuff. So you're a woman here. I want you to get this stain out of my lucky shirt. So I thought that was funny. So the next morning when he wakes up and he goes over and he sees the shirt, is on his bed when he gets in his room to get his stuff ready to go. And he's all excited. He unwraps it and he puts it on. The sleeves go way up, up like that, and because it shrank. And he's really pissed off. And then that's when he's throwing all the stuff together and he's yelling at her out the window. And she's going off to the stagecoach, and that's where Maverick's dad is going to be waiting for him. I'm trying to remember what they called him in this part. Do you remember what his name was?
I forgot. I'm sorry.
It was Coop. They called him Coop.
Cooper.
Yeah. Okay. His nickname was Coop. So that whole thing, and then he's he's arguing with her about the shirt, and he's like, "You shrank it on purpose." She goes, "Of course I did." I thought that whole scene was just really adorable and funny, but it added so much character between the two, the banter between the two of them, and that's what I was talking about with their chemical attraction to me. It seemed very.
They didn't seem like they didn't seem like they were acting too hard to be attracted to each other.
No, but it definitely came across that they had this playful banter between the two, that there was an attraction, that sometime you kept waiting for the moment when they were just going to grab each other and really, you know, go to town, because at least that's what I kept waiting for, because I thought they were so adorable as a couple. I just thought they were really cute and believable, you know, that when they finally do get together on the boat, the whole thing is cute because they're not even on the bed. And I thought that, oh my God, that was so romantic. The fact that they weren't even on the bed, they were on the floor next to the bed. So, you know, remember that, guys. You don't always have to be in the bed to make it fun. But I just thought that
was 2 weeks from now when Janet reviews Roadhouse and discusses the sex scene. Sorry.
Oh, I just thought it was really good. The whole leading up to the actual big game, you know, and how he was collecting his money. And then when you get back to the part where he's strung up in the tree by the one guy that's supposed to keep him from showing up at the game, and he's praying to God, if you can just get me out of this one thing, you know, just give me this chance. And he's leaning way back on his horse, Ollie, you know, and he's trying to get Ollie to stop, and Ollie's walking real slow or whatever. And then the branch breaks and he falls, you know, and you know, it's all like, it is very funny, but you're thankful. And he's out in the middle of nowhere, and you know, he's got to be thirsty, and he's dirty. And I don't know. I just thought the whole scene was really, really good. And then he's chasing the horse down with a big log. He's having to drag by his throat because he's still tied up. And then you could see him, because you're wondering what he did with his money. You know, that's the first thing I thought. And the fact that the bad guys didn't take off his boots, you know, to find out where his money was, especially it made me think about was the part where the guy that was supposed to stop him from getting to the game knew that he had to have the money, the $25,000, right, to pay for the entry fee. Yet he didn't check his boots to find out where his money was. You know, I don't know. I just thought that was kind of funny, but it was fun. It was funny. So it was that was a good scene, but it got you back to the beginning of the movie, and then how he was gonna get to the game. So when he did finally make it to the ship or the boat or the what would you call that? What was it? What kind of boat was that?
That steamboat or the ferry?
Yeah, well, I guess it was a steamboat, is what you would call it. Man, that was pretty. I would really like. I've never been on one. I would love to ride on a real one.
Wait, hold on here. You've never been up to St. Louis?
I've been to St. Louis, but I've never been on a boat, one of those boats. I've never even ridden on a duck. You know what a duck is?
Yeah, I know what a duck is.
Well,
you could.
I went to Branson as about, I guess, 5 years ago, and right after I got there for a group of family and stuff for like a get together for a weekend, and I had heard that one of the boats sank and all the people drowned. Almost all the people that were on it drowned, and I'll never get on one of them now. You can't pay me to get on one, so I won't ride one. And I was thankful I had never ridden on one, but I'd seen tons of people do it in almost every town that has a lake. You know, where everybody gets in and it drives down the road and then it drives into the lake. And I'm glad I will do it now. Scary.
I just put a link in the chat earlier. I showed off my tee that I'm wearing. Our good buddy.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about it. Isn't that you wearing that funny wig?
This is our buddy Hungar. You ever see me hanging out with a guy named DM James or Constantine? He's a hell of a gamer, and he loves to do. Hey Tommy, how you doing, sir? He loves to do miniature building, but his brother Hungar is going through some medical issues right now, and just got some things squared away. And he said, "I'm gonna make some t-shirts." And I love this shirt because it's got him with his afro and back in 91. And then he's got another shirt that, are you a fan of Frank Frazetta? Some people don't know who that is. Well, this is the other shirt that I bought from the Hungar collection. And he did a wonderful job of putting his face on Conan's body atop the maiden. And I just thought that was pretty cool. That'd be something that a DM would have, that a person would have. So, and plus the fact
that first shirt that you had on, it looked like you when you wear that funny wig. That orangey wig that you have. That's why I thought it was you when I first saw it.
Oh no. It's not me.
Well, it's shorter, but it looks like it could be you on there from the angle that I'm looking at it.
I could see that. No, but Hungar's got these shirts out, and I put the link in the chat for those of you that think that's kind of a cool idea. He's given all the proceeds to Wounded Warrior Project, and seems like there's a lot of us giving money to that this year. Ooh, Tommy's in the chat. Sup, Tommy? Nation Kings, how goes it? Six Nation 31 Kings says something kind of scary. This is my horror story right here. Woke up to single digits. Highs are in the 20s today. All in all, it's been pretty chill.
That's Bruce and his hair days.
Actually, awesome one. I had a mullet. We don't want to go there, but I had a mullet.
Inside you did have a real mullet?
A real mullet.
You'll have to post a picture of you in a mullet on your Discord. Somebody can see it.
I had a photo of it years ago. It was back in 91 or 92 when I had it, because Bud Faustino off of Married with Children, the boy, he had a mullet. So I got a mullet. And that lasted for about 2 days. And then my hair just kind of parted down the middle. And that was it. It lost its cool points. Yeah, it's going to get colder. Thursday, I think we're going to wake up to 15 degrees here in San Antonio. And I'm not looking forward to that at all, because I don't think we've got proper insulation yet. I don't think we've got anything winterized. I think we're gonna be on national news as remember last year when they froze? Well, here they are again. And that's going to be Texas, because we have losers deciding energy policy. Okay, enough real world shit. Back to the movie. Janet, with this movie being such a good cult movie, because it did not hit the numbers that you would think it would. It's a Mel Gibson movie. Between Mel Gibson 3 between Lethal Weapon 3 and 4, like in 94, it was a year after Lethal Weapon 3, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And it did not make the money they were expecting. It did respectable, but not many people are going to go see a remake or a sequel to a TV series that James Garner was in, and they kind of said that in the terms of their dollars. Nowadays, when you mention Maverick, a lot of people think the Top Gun movie,
mm-hmm.
but this is a very fine comedy western.
Yeah, it says the stuff that I looked up. It says this movie was the 12th highest grossing film in North America, and the 15th highest grossing film worldwide in 1994. It says as of 2013, the film is the 6th highest grossing Western film in North America.
Really?
Pre-release tracking shows the film would open strongly. During its opening weekend in North America, Maverick earned $17.2 million from 2,537 theaters, an average of 6,798 per theater, ranking as the #1 film of the weekend. It took a total of $41.8 million over its first 2 weeks of release. The movie was a box office success, and it grossed over $183 million worldwide. That was a lot of money back then.
It was a lot of money. I'm just surprised it made that, because the figures I saw were smaller, and
I heard people say that this movie should have been like a hit, and it should be considered a classic, but they rarely talk about it. And whenever I ask my friends about this movie, they're like, Maverick? Oh, you mean with Tom Cruise? I'm like, no, with James Garner and Mel Gibson. Oh, I love that movie. And then they don't really say much else. And I don't know if that's from the fact that because it's a comedy Western and it doesn't really take itself too seriously. But
well, and you got to remember too, it's they don't really make movies like this anymore. So it's a lot of people today. I don't know if a lot of young people that come out now would enjoy it because there isn't any CGI in it. Now, one thing I thought was very interesting was the rattlesnakes. Okay, they were robotic rattlesnakes. That was one of the things that I looked up about it. But it said that Maverick was received generally favorable reviews on Rotten Tomatoes. The film was at a 67% rating based on reviews from 54 critics, an average rating of 6 out of 10. The site's consensus states it isn't terribly deep, but it's witty and undeniably charming, and its cast is obviously having fun.
Yeah, that's the one thing everybody I talked to said. They're like, you could tell they were having a ball with this film. They were able to enjoy the process of making this movie, and they weren't dour about it. They weren't, you knew they were having fun. You even with just how the interactions are on set, and you can tell that these actors and even the bit players were having a blast. I mean, Danny Glover can barely contain his smile when he's robbing a bank, and then he sees Mel Gibson.
And then the scene. This is what I was going to talk about earlier. Was the scene where they're riding their horses, and they come across the wagon train that supposedly had been attacked by Indians, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you see the women come running up to the three characters, and the one woman is Margot Kidder, Lois Lane. And it took me a few minutes to recognize her because, she just looked so different than she did for me when I remember seeing the movie Superman when she was in it. And she was really young and everything in that. And she's like, please help us and help me get my wedding dress so I can get a husband. I thought that was really funny. So I didn't understand what the whole thing meant until I looked it up, and that she was the love interest of James Garner from some other television series, and they were like engaged to be married. So the whole concept of her running up to him about please finding my wedding dress, and then later on when they do give them back their things and she has a wedding dress, and then she runs up to him and saying, now I can get married.
Yes.
So the whole thing was
a wink of a joke. They're winking at you if you knew this.
If you had seen it and you knew James Garner. So like, remember the whole thing to me was like a spoof on James Garner's past, from his TV series that he was on, and little tidbits here and there for Mel Gibson and for James Garner's other shows that they were in, like the whole thing when they brought in Danny Glover for that whole thing for the Lethal Weapon, because it was fresh and hot off the presses basically for that movie, and it was a big success too. So and it was I just thought it was just great how they added these little things in there, and they got the actors to come and be little what do you call cameos, to do cameos in this movie. So I thought that was really great, because it just added a huge touch of class to the whole movie, especially when you finally get to the steamboat and they're about to have the game, and they're collecting everybody's money and explaining how the rules are going to be going. And that's when they, is it Cogburn? What was his name? Coburn. Oh, God. the actor that played the Commodore.
Oh, James Coburn.
Yeah, okay. That actor, when he announces who Coop is and that he has hired the #1 lawman or whatever to make sure that the rules were followed, you know. So I just thought that was really good, and how they're collecting everybody's money and put in a little satchel. And that was really impressed how they were able to put all $500,000 in this little tiny suitcase to put inside the safe.
I was thinking it'd take like about 6 or 7 bags, like
Yeah,
duffel.
me too. I mean, especially since when you saw them take the money out and the money was so big, you know, it wasn't like a regular little dollar bills that we have. These were like giant, like paper money. I just thought that was very interesting, but it was still funny. You know, it was really, really good. And then when you're looking around when they're actually doing the poker tournament and the people are walking around and you see Coop grab that one guy's wrist and he's got a card sticking out of the sleeve of his jacket, you know,
Yeah.
catching the cheaters. And the one he caught was like that some famous singer, Clint Black or whatever. Because I was like, I know this person. Why do I recognize him? I didn't know who it was. I had to look it up anyways. And I didn't really recognize anyone. I mean, I saw people that looked familiar, like the one scene where you have a husband and wife and they're walking and a gun falls from her purse or something and lands on the ground, and you see Coop pick it up and he goes, "This belonged to you?" And he's like, "No, that's not hers. It was mine." And he goes, "So it's yours?" And he's like, "Well, yeah," like that, you know, trying to talk. And then he drops the other one and he goes, "This one's yours too?" Whatever. And it was some famous country western singer. I'm trying to remember which one it was, but it was just funny because they had a lot of cameos and they had a lot of different people that were famous, I guess, at that time. In the when was it? It came in the 90s.
94 when this was made.
So you had a lot of people making cameos, and I bet it was fun for all of them. I would have loved to have been in the scene just to play an extra or a stand-in or a boom operator or something in that whole thing where they were on that boat with all those people getting to be in the movie. That would have been, I mean, just think about it, how exciting that would be to be in that same room with all those actors and singers and stuff. That's iconic to me, and that would have been so exciting if I could have done something like that. But that looked like fun. That looked like a really fun, however many hours it was that it took to make that. And I bet that a lot of laughter, you know, a lot of people laughing and having a good time during that whole thing. But then when you realize when that they all make it to the last table, which you knew they would, you knew that Jodie Foster and Mel Gibson would both be at the table, because it just seemed like you'd have to have that, because now they're lovers. And that scene when they took the 1 hour break and you see them, you know,
Relaxing.
the hot, steamy arguments they've been having and stuff, to get to see him finally come to fruition in the bed. And then the guy was walking around in the little thing and he's ringing the bell saying 30 minutes. And you see the heads pop up and they're like, "We got 30 minutes. And they go back down again. You know, the whole thing was just funny. It was romantic. I loved it. I thought it was just adorable. I mean, it just really, you know, it just makes
Rudy's a better
so bad. It drives you crazy, especially when you don't really have a big romantic bone in your body or whatever, but you get to see someone else that's getting to do it, and it makes you wish that you were in the middle of it. You know what I mean? So I thought that was really fun. But
I was having a ball watching this film. Whenever they're building up to the final scene, I really thought that the way it would resolve would be a little different, but they left it kind of hanging. But spoiler alert, some of that money gets stolen, and at the very end,
Mel Gibson looks at the camera. He's like, that'll be a lot more fun just to track her down, just to track him down for this. And that could have led into a sequel. And it, if it was filmed today, it's got to be a sequel. We got to have a sequel. We got to either that or 8-part miniseries on Disney Plus. Blah.
Definitely.
And they would ruin it. They would ruin it by saturating it for like 7 hours and making it to where a 90-minute movie was stretched out into fucking 4.5, 6 hours, some miserable crap like that.
But what was funny leading up to what you're talking about the money being missing was where it seems like every time you turn around, they're finding a gun, and then there's that whole thing where the guy that was hired to stop Mel Gibson from being in the game, and then he ends up pulling the gun, that comes up out of his sleeve, and then you see Coop take his gun, and he's standing next to Mel Gibson, and he goes to shoot him, and then you see Mel Gibson grab the gun that's on his waist, and they both were shooting at the guy, right? And then you see all these other people with guns standing up and pulling their guns out. And after it's all, cleared up and stuff, and then the Commodore stands up and says, "Wow, you're terrible for security." He goes, "Everybody's got a gun." I thought that scene was funny because I had to pause it and laugh and stuff because it was funny. I mean, the way they filmed that, the different angles and everything, and you see all these weapons coming out. I just thought that was a classic scene. I just really, really liked it, especially if you're a big Second Amendment person, like I am. I just thought it was fun. It was funny and fun, and it just, you couldn't help but get a kick out of seeing that whole thing. But then when you see Coop get off the boat onto that little boat that goes off to the back, and you see the Commodore, run over there and get his gun, and he's going to shoot him, and that's one of those long range rifles or whatever. And that's when Mel Gibson stops him, and says, "No, still don't know at this time that it's supposedly his dad." And he stops him and says, "No, it's just money or whatever," because we didn't know at the time was that it was his dad, and that he knew he'd see him again, so he would get his money. You know what I mean? So we didn't know that, but so everybody's all rooting and hollering, thinking it's great that he was a nice guy and he won, but he didn't get the money, whatever. So then when the boat stops and everybody gets off, you get to see Mel Gibson and them all leave, they're all leaving. And then later you see some boots walking up to somebody outside a campfire, and you see that it's Cooper sitting there by the campfire. And then it ends up being the Commodore showing up. When you're thinking it's Mel Gibson, when you see the boots, at least I was, and then it ends up being the Commodore, and you find out that them two had set up the whole thing to rip everyone else off and split the money. So they were both being like thieves or whatever. And that's when Mel Gibson shows up at that time and then steals the money back from both of them, and lets them, with the one gun that has a bullet in it, he throws it up in the air to let them fight over the gun or whatever. So I thought that whole scene was really good. And then you find out that really Cooper wasn't really a criminal, but he knew that the Commodore was trying to rip everyone off, and him being the great lawman that he's been from the TV show and from the movie, he had to catch him in the act to basically stop him from being able to steal the money. But what was he going to do if it wasn't Maverick that won the money? Was he still going to steal it and take it back to him, or keep the money for himself? You still don't know for sure. So there's that little if there that you think that maybe, he would have kept the money for himself or whatever. But then after that, you see Mel Gibson in like a one of those bathhouses, and oh man, those tubs were so nice. I can just see myself sitting in one of them. But he's sitting in the tub and he's smoking a cigar, and I guess he's dipping it in brandy or something. It was disgusting. I thought it was disgusting, but I guess people that like cigars like to dip it in alcohol and smoke it or whatever. Yeah. And so they they zoom in on it, and then they kind of scan across, and you see the bag sitting there with the money, and then his gun on top of it with his belt with all his bullets, and all of a sudden you see boots above his head coming into the room, and he's like, you're not very smart. You're 8 feet away from your weapon and whatever, like he was going to steal the money or whatever. And then he doesn't. And next thing you know, you see he's in the tub next to him. And that's when you find out that it's his father. Okay. So they're like both enjoying the nice hot bath and smoking cigars or whatever and shaving or whatever else. And then a little bit after that, then you see someone else come in, which is Jodie Foster's character. And she comes in and she's like, oh, look, he's 6 feet away from his gun or whatever. So she goes over, she gets the bag, and then she leaves and steals it after she compares both the naked men to each other, innuendo type thing, which I thought was really funny. And they're both, you see them both lift up out of the tub, kind of like looking over to see the other one naked in the other tub. I just thought that was funny because men are always worried about whose is bigger, that type of thing. So I thought that was really funny. I don't know if you laughed at it, Bruce. Did you think that was funny?
I got a good chuckle out of it because the insensitive bastard that I am, I always laugh at penis jokes. I always do. That's God's punishment to men. In your teens and 20s, you're happy, you're long, you're virile and proud, and then when you're in your 50s and 60s, no amount of blue pills can save you. It's on the horizon, gents. If you don't die young, get used to that thought. Janet, you know that scene where everybody's going for their guns?
Yeah.
You know what it reminded me of? And caution, any small children should now stop watching the stream. I'm going to share something.
What did it remind you of?
Do you remember this Texas church?
Well,
you got this guy here. He shoots somebody here. And then he shoots another guy. He shoots him. And then other people start coming with their guns.
Oh, is that a church in Texas or something?
A church in Texas back in 2019. Gun. Everybody came out with their guns that day in 2019.
Good.
Don't you ever, let me just tell you guys something. Never, ever, ever assault a church on Sunday in Texas. You will get blown away.
Well, good. I mean, that's great. I mean, I honestly do believe that if you think about it, how many millions of people have guns in America, and how many people do you see from those millions of registered gun owners are running around killing people?
None of us.
Okay, so what you see, usually almost everything that you see is somebody that stole the guns, that didn't belong to the guns. They took other people's guns and used them in a killing. Yep. But a few times, like when that one person went to was it Ruby's Cafe or something, and someone else in there had a weapon and shot the person that was trying to shoot other people. So they have stopped shootings and saved people's lives too. So I'm all for it, because people that follow the letter of the law aren't the ones that are using the guns to kill people. They're trying to save people. So
there was a lady that years ago, I think 2006 or 2005, she was just at a church to do some stuff on a Wednesday, and some guy came in and he was wanting to kill the pastor, and she was there. She was a security guard off duty, and she was just taking care of some business with the church, maybe giving them some money or something. And this kid came in and he tried blowing away somebody, and she was there and she put him down. She put him on the ground. And I found her on Facebook because I used to have Facebook and stalk people that were kind of famous like that. And she was just fun to talk to, and she was just a regular human being. She had her problems, and her ways, weren't always the best, but she was a lot of fun to talk to. And, she's like, I really wish I was famous for something else. I'm like,
you're famous for like saving somebody's ass. I don't know what guilt you might have with you, but like you did the right thing that day. I don't care. And a lot of other people were in her corner. She had so many simps on her Facebook. It was great. You know, like she was like 42 and I was 30, yeah, somewhere around there. And it was just interesting to talk to somebody because she made national news. You know, I mean, she was somebody who she was at just a church. I believe it was in Colorado, maybe Denver even. And she stopped the pastor and some others from losing their lives. And a good person with a gun stops a bad guy with a gun damn near every time if they get the chance. Amazing how that works. Yeah, fat gamers, like if they make guns illegal, it'll be prohibition all over again, just a lot more deadly. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
you think about it though, back in the old West, you know, when everybody had weapons, you didn't just have a bunch of people just going around blowing people away. Most of the shootings and stuff were, you know, either bank robberies or during poker games. So, you know, in saloons and stuff like that. So I'm just saying, I think that I really do think that people that know how to use their weapons and have guns in their homes are less likely to die by somebody robbing them or trying to take what isn't theirs from someone else. But yeah, but what was cute about the ending of this movie was the fact that they're after she leaves, and that's when Coop says something to Brett about how he left the money there, and he goes, but it's going to be fun getting the money back, you know, type of thing, like he knew she would come. And then he says, but don't worry. And then he hands Coop one of his boots, and he looks in there and takes his part of the money out. Okay, so they both took, you know, half of the money. Or I don't think half the money, how much money he put in. Do what?
I thought it was more like a quarter of the money, but okay.
Yeah, whatever it was, she took like a quarter of the money, so it was like split three ways. But he was still going to go after her to try to, you know, get it, because that's his way of her way of getting him to chase her down, you know. So it's like the cat and mouse type whole thing with him and Jodie Foster's character. But I thought it was a classic movie. I absolutely adored it. I laughed. I laughed more at the very beginning parts of it than I did mostly the second half of the movie. But until towards the end, the whole thing with the bathtub scene with his dad, when you find out that that's his father and that type of stuff. So to me, the most serious two parts in the show were the one where Coop takes the money and leaves, because it's something you don't expect to happen from his character. And then the part where they're at the fire, you know, the thing out in the woods, when Mel Gibson's character is there with the other two, and that's when they end up having to, you know, realize that, you know, especially when when Mel Gibson said something to Coop about you couldn't sneak up on something about because you're old and decrepit or something. I don't remember for sure, but the cut downs in this movie were really good. I tried to save them, but I always forget to print that part out. And usually that one gentleman comes to our thing and posts all the lines from the movies.
Yeah, we usually Wolf on Media. Wolfton
Yeah,
Media in here and does
he's
that.
always really good, but it's just some of the really good little lines, you know, like the line that from the one Indian gentleman that said that they you know, is that legal? And he goes, the white men do it all the time. I just thought it was funny. Well, see, my great grandmother was Choctaw Indian, and she was raised on a reservation and everything. So, you know, I do have some Indian bloodline myself, but you know, I think the whole thing is, you know, that's our heritage. That's where we came from. That's how our country was made. You know, you know, people have been conquering other people's lands since the beginning of man, basically. And I'm not saying it's right or it's wrong, but nobody made fun of the Indians, and the only one that made the joke was an actual Indian. So I don't feel like it was bad or anything, or it was hurtful, because it was funny. And I just think they did a very good, tasteful job in the whole movie at making fun of old people, women, blondes, alcoholics. I mean, they just made fun of everyone, I felt. And I thought the whole movie was fair. It was fair to everyone, because everybody was a target. You know what I mean? They didn't leave anyone out. So I thought it was really, really a very good movie. And even though it had romance and had violence in it, because there was a lot of guns and fist fights, it just had a lot of action in it. It was very funny, and it was a Western. But you just don't get to see this type of good quality movies. I mean, I don't even know if they could make a good comedy Western anymore. I mean, you had Blazing Saddles, right? Then you had, there was another one that came out, it was a comedy Western besides this one. I'm trying to remember the name of them. I'm not really good at remembering all that, but it's just like, it's just getting harder and harder to get a good quality movie, and not just with the script. You have to have the script, you have to have the actors, you have to have a good director, you have to have the scenes, you got to have the, the costumes and the makeup. You got to have just the whole shebang. You got to have every single thing work together for the movie to turn out and be successful. And this movie made money. It had tons of good actors in it. It had a good story. It was fun, and you could tell the interaction between the actors and everything was entertaining, and that they enjoyed themselves. And you left the movie theater with a smile on your face, because it was an enjoyment. It was an actual entertaining movie that took you away from the daily grind that you had at home, and took you away for a little while. And that's what we are lacking so bad today. I mean, like when the movie Maverick came out, the Top Gun Maverick came out, it was like everyone was just, I mean, at the end of the movie, everyone was clapping, and you could see that everyone was so happy to have seen it. So it's just nice. And I pray that Hollywood smartens up and starts saying, let's just make movies because they're good. Let's give people what they want, which is entertainment, and if they can start doing that again, they'll make money. I mean, it's not like they're going to lose money if they just, sit back and say, hey, this is some good shit. People are going to want to see it. And not just that, they'll buy t-shirts. They'll buy the movie and watch it at home. So I don't know. I just really wish that we could get some really good stuff to where people want, in 20 years, when they watch Top Gun Maverick, they're going to say how damn good it was, and how that was a gem, that a diamond that came out of a bunch of turds. Because what other movies during this last year were as good as Top Gun Maverick? I mean, what comparisons do we have? Just there's slim pickings.
I mean, wait, you didn't go see the AOC movie? You didn't go see Bros, Janet? How could you not see Bros?
I didn't. Did you?
No.
Okay.
I got better things to do than watch two Peter Puffers smoke on each other. I'm good.
I know. The thing is, I really feel sorry for people who go to the movies and see some of the crap that we have now and think that that's entertainment. They have no idea. That's why I tell people all the time, go watch some older movies, even is old black and white. I mean, go back and just sample the different movies through time, pick and choose horror, whatever genre it is that you're looking for, you're going to find it, and watch some of these. And I go and watch how the progression of scripts, acting, movie ability, I mean, music, everything that's added to these movies, and how it progressively gets better and better. I mean, I can tell you right now, I watched reruns with my dad of Godzilla movies, and that was the fakest stuff you could ever say is fake. You know, I had no CGI, I had nothing. It was so fake, but I loved it. I could not wait to see the next one. I absolutely loved it. It was so exciting to get to watch Godzilla kick butt. And my dad was with me, we eating popcorn, and my mom would, you know, just roll her eyes at us and think how stupid we were. But I loved it. I looked forward to watching those old sci-fi movies with my dad. And as corny as they were, Star Trek was corny, but I loved it. I ate it up. I mean, anything that came out, I would watch it.
Well,
And I don't know. I just feel sorry for people today. It just feels like there's just, I mean, I just don't get that excited. People say, "Oh, you're gonna go see the movies this week," and I'm like, no, you know, because it's just not excitement. Now, I went to the theater. I wanted to go see Top Gun Maverick because I wanted to see it in a real theater where I could lean back and have a slushie and have popcorn and you know, and hear the great music and stuff coming from the speakers and see it on a ginormous screen. Nothing beats that, but except a good movie. You know, if you're going to pay all that money, $20 to go to the movies, you want it to be good. And this movie right here that we watched, this movie was good. I mean, when it came out at the movie theater, it was a huge success. And it was a good movie, and it's still a good movie. It's still a watchable movie that a family, you know, not with real little kids, but you know, a 13-year-old and up, I think would enjoy this, especially if they grew up with their parents or grandparents that enjoyed Westerns and they had the understanding of a Western or what a Western was. And I really think that they would enjoy it. And I loved it. I thought it was great.
Well, I'm gonna just let the cat out of the bag. Next Monday night, the day after Christmas, we're gonna review and discuss the movie, the holiday classic Die Hard by John McTiernan, starring Bruce Willis, Alan Rickman, Alex Goodenough, and Bonnie Bedelia, one of my favorite drag racers ever. Because you just hit on all the things that I love about that movie, talking about this movie, which there's nothing wrong with either of these films, but there's something lost in the art of movie making today. Yep. And it's the heart that movies don't have. They rely completely on either CGI or the message, or they have some other distinct thing that overwhelms you, that you shouldn't pay attention to the fact that this movie has zero credibility to ever be on your shelf, that it should never be owned by you or any other sane person. But instead, you should revel in the fact that this movie was made, because this movie is, you know, it's got 2 lesbian script writers. How could you not want it in your collection? Or this movie was made. This movie was made by, you know, 2 trans homo whatever blah 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 LGBTQ crap. It's crap. It's crap. Okay, and that's the 99% of the shit they've released in the past 2 years, because they've shut down everything else. They've restricted fun. They've made fun to where you feel bad for having it. I was listening to a friend of mine talk about Maverick, the movie from 2022, and he said, I kind of felt bad because it felt like an older movie, you know, when movies were, you know, they were just good. And I'm like, what? He's like, I felt bad because this movie didn't have like a message to it, you know, except for maybe, you know, date a single mother and, you know, make your daughter feel like she can like get involved with your stuff. Because at the very end, the little daughter's hanging around the hangar and looking at all the stuff that Maverick was doing, because he's living the best life you could ever have if you're a Navy pilot. Where do you live? Well, I got my Airstream in a fucking Navy hangar. They let me keep it there, and I mooch off their Wi-Fi. Fuck. I honestly believe that you know that Maverick is one of these movies that both movies named Maverick are heralding back to a better age in cinematography, when it mattered to have a good script, to have a good cast. Is Maverick 2022 perfect? No, it's not. It's a pretty good ripoff of Episode 4 for Star Wars, but It's a fun movie.
Mm-hmm.
And my friend, for being a cuck, he's like, well, it just felt like a regular movie like they used to make, where you'd go to the movies and you just munch popcorn and you have a good time. And I'm like, well, that's what you're supposed to do with your fucking money, is go use it the way you want, Heaven
Mm-hmm.
forbid, you're being told by the government or some other large agency, remember tonight at 10 p.m. to deposit your $100 in the Pfizer ATM so you may receive your weekend allotment of Prosium or whatever other drug they shove in your neck. You might not make it Monday. Take your meds. Fuck you. I'm so sick of this shit that I keep hearing from the medical misinformation people that are like actually working for big pharma. And my miserable death cannot come fast enough, it seems like sometimes, because I hear these people talk and I'm like, what type of world are they trying to craft? Give me the world where Kelly McGillis was hot, where Tom Cruise had shitty teeth, and where you knew summer blockbusters were going to be fun times in the theater, seeing how much popcorn you could eat before the movie credits hit. Yeah, that's what it was like. And that's what watching Maverick 1994 is like. That's what watching Maverick 2022 is like.
Well, the thing is that it's just like a child. If you take a child and you have a baby and you move, let's say you move from the city and you move up into the mountains, and that child only sees other people besides its parents once a month, okay, until it's 18 years old. It's going to have a totally different perspective of life when it goes to the big city and what it sees. You know what I mean? Compared to what another child that grew up in the city, both parents working and seeing trucks and cars and shootings and, all the things that you see in the city, and then is taken out into the mountains when it's 18 and has his first summer job, let's see, being a lumberjack or something like that. How's that child going to react to the wilds? That's what you're doing. You're taking kids that never saw certain things in their whole life, and then all of a sudden they see it and they're like, they don't know how to react to it because they don't know what to think or how to consume it and understand what it's supposed to be telling them. So that's the sad fact, is because they've never had it. You know what I mean? Once they were old enough to watch it, it wasn't available because it was old. It was something that they're not interested in looking into anymore. It's just not, there's no CGI in it, or it doesn't have TNA, or it just doesn't have the things that they think that they want to see. So, why are they going to waste their time looking at it? If it's not what they want.
This makes me so sad to hear that, but I'm thinking of a friend of mine who, his 12-year-old boy, they had to take their phone away and they had to put the computer either in the parents' room or in the front room. And the kid had to get removed off of social networking because he had a Reddit account. And I didn't realize just how prevalent Reddit has porn on it till about a week ago, when a friend of mine said, just put these in your search bar on there. And I kind of was like, oh my God, wow, that's impressive. I didn't think it was that freaking, I thought like you had to have like a credit card in hand, and you had to have the bank routing number and all this stuff. Nope, for free. And I've known for years about it, but I just didn't get it. Like it's there. Plain sight. Go ahead.
Well, I have 4 sisters, and one of them is now on Twitter now. And then I had my youngest sister, and she was saying that she was interested in getting on Twitter, checking it out or whatever. And so she calls me and she goes, I'm not getting on Twitter. And I was like, why? And she goes, well, I went to the app to download it and I went to look at it and it says +17. And it does. And I didn't realize that because, I've had I'm on my 4th account because I've been kicked off, the other times. But so when you go to get it again, you don't have to like basically do all the same stuff you do when you first put it on your phone. It just says, do you want to download it again? Because it's got that little arrow because it's already basically on there, in your information or whatever. So you don't see all the same stuff pop up. And she was telling me about it, and she has, younger kids. And she said, what if one of my, kids gets on there and opens it? What's on there? And I said, well, there's porn on there. She's like, what do you mean? I said, the other day I had a new person that was following me, and, I go to them, to the other people's accounts to see whether or not I'm going to follow them back. And the whole thing was porn. I mean, actual stuff where you could see all the bits and pieces. And I was like, well, So I clicked block, and then I unfollowed them. If you click block, the little thing pops up, and then you click unfollow or unblock, then they're not following you anymore. And that's what I did, because I'm like, I don't want that person following me. I'm not following them back. So, it's prevalent though. But the thing is, I was glad to see that it says on there, right on there, plus 17. So, and I can see why. I mean, if there's openly gay porn and lesbian porn and regular porn and whatever you want to see on there for anyone to see, I mean, I don't want young people getting on
you prude. We're just trying to show your children how to use butt plugs and dildos. Oh my!
I know, but the thing is, if it says 17, that's not a kid. That is an adult.
That's not a 5-year-old. That's not a 3rd grader. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
And as long as they have it that way, but see, the thing is, I've seen kids that can get on their phone or whatever and get on YouTube Kids. At least that's what it says. And then they keep pushing this and pushing that. And next thing I know, I'm hearing the F word or the shit and damn and some other. So I'm like, what do you want? Let me see what you have. And they hand it to me, and it still says kids, YouTube for kids, but the links go on and on and on and connect, and they're pulling up videos because it has one word the same, and it keeps attaching that word to the other things, and somehow they can bring in that other stuff. And that's not good. That's why parents have got to sit and you got some nasty stuff again in your chat.
No. We Papa Cotton gave it a shot. Papa Cotton gave him a shot. He gave him the vaccines. He gave him the vaccinations.
They found us again, but it looks different. They look like a different group this time.
Probably had to make a new avatar for their Google account.
How come it always says hot girls are waiting? How come they never have any? You never get any on your channel that says hot men are waiting for you. Why is that?
Because I don't advertise myself as a homosexual. If I have a hot woman in a low-cut Western wear on here, and 3/4 of my friends are here hanging out with us and benefiting from the yes, more please. I think that's marketing to the hetero crowd, which is perfectly fine. This is a male-dominated channel. My name being Bruce.
So the porn bots know that this is a male-dominated channel. Is that how do they find that out? I mean,
I have no idea.
It's interesting.
Tommy's like, reported them all for a multitude of offenses. Thank you, sir. Yeah, ask me, shall receive, says Travis. Speak of the devil. The bots show up when Janet cusses. Oh shit.
They show up in a cuss. Is that what it said?
Yeah, you cuss and they show up. Travis J 1975. I'm waiting for Janet. I'm your Huckleberry.
Oh, you know what a huckleberry is, don't you? Hucklebearer.
Yeah, Hucklebearer is the they carry
the handle on the casket. That's right. Yeah,
they're pallbearer. Six Nation 31 Kings is like, be nice if YouTube had a panic button option for mobile users like myself. And YouTube hires a porn bots. They kind of do. And stats show they do a statistic of audit real quick, and it shows who's watching.
if they share their gender, which I do because I don't want people to think I identify as female. So I have a male option selected on my Google profile.
So you can put that in your like your
Not your YouTube profile, on my Google account, which runs my YouTube.
Oh, so if I get on my Google and I say me, myself, and I, that it will bring different people to my.
Yep, you'll have the alt crowd clicking in, and those links are a weird time. Literally strap in and hold on tight, because that German dungeon porn is something else.
Oh, I don't think I want to see it.
Regular porn is usually, like I click into something and I hear a boot stuck in mud, only wetter. I'm like, I'm probably not where I need to be at.
Well, I don't want it to ruin it, so that I never want to do those things again. I want to be able to still have fantasies and stuff without going. I'm going to throw up. You know what I'm saying?
I don't want my wife to beat my ass, so I just don't go and hunt down porn or check out porn or anything. I just do my best to stay off that stuff. It's like, okay, my wife has kind of got that.
It's good for people. I mean, because if you're looking at that all the time, then nothing's good enough. Nobody can compete with that. I mean, that's like I can see people going to court, now to get a divorce because they marry someone and then they have a baby and the baby doesn't look anything like either parent, and then you do an DNA and you prove the kid is you guys' baby, doesn't look like you because you've had a new nose, you got boobs, you got hips, you got butt cheeks, you did skin bleaching, you did did all this stuff to you, and the baby comes out and it's got a giant nose and huge ears, and you're like, whose kid is this? It's because you've done so much stuff to yourself that basically it's like false advertisement, so your kid don't look nothing like you because you don't look nothing like you did when you were before you had all the plastic put in. So I don't know. I just think I mean, honestly, if you think about it, I'd rather know what I'm getting,
Travis J75, that's hilarious. Wow, this review went sideways fast. Absolutely, sir. We found a bunny trail.
Yeah, it doesn't take long. Well, we've done a couple of shows and not had a single bot before, I thought. Yeah,
we've had a couple.
So it's possible.
Or you start cussing and they wander on in. Culture's parents are fact that your sexual pleasure centers or cerebral cortex. Yeah.
A lot of people don't have that anymore because they smoke so much pot, or they do too many drugs, or they drink too much. So they wouldn't know they even had that in their mind.
That's actually something I haven't had all day, is a nice refreshing beer.
Yeah, I'm having some coconut rum in my pink lemonade right now.
Nice.
So, nothing wrong with that. I don't do it in excess, so.
Nope. This is like one of the better Westerns that you've had me. This is actually the best Western you've had me watch yet. And
this was good, but Tombstone was the best so far.
Man, it's really close between this and Tombstone.
Well, not for me. This is good, but Tombstone's still my number one Western.
I would say Tombstone for me is just historically a number one Western for me, but this is really, I haven't watched this in 30 years. I've not. I've been interested in seeing this again, and I didn't realize it was one of your more favorite films. So we watched it, and I've seen Tombstone probably 15 times in the last 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
But watching this made me realize just, there was a period of time earlier this year when you would be like, okay, Bruce, well, what movie are we going to watch? And I would pick something from 1994 because that was like the best movie year ever. And we watched like 5 or 6 selections until you had me go on to Bad Girls. And I'm like, oh shit.
Still like Bad Girls. I still think it's a very good movie. It's just that it was, there was just too many things.
There's a lot of flaws in that movie.
Yeah, but I still think the actresses were hot. It was a pretty good story, and the scenery was beautiful, and most of the actors did a great job. It just didn't connect well because of the editing. Is what I think mostly.
The editing in that movie hurts it. There's a lot of things in that movie that hurt it, but that movie, you can see where it could have been like a 7 on the 10 scale.
Oh yeah,
you
definitely.
can see where it would be. Hey,
but see, I say that a lot about a lot of the movies that I've reviewed with you, is that you can have a great director, you can have wonderful, masterful scenery, you can have wonderful actors, you can have a really good script, and it be shit because the editing was so bad. Because they rushed it at the end of the editing. So, and that's sad because you put so much effort into it and the actors did such a good job doing it. And, and I try really hard to look past some of that sometimes. And you can have all the other things be really good, but the music sucks so bad, So that's what I'm saying. When everything goes, like this, you got a really good, you got a box office smash because every little tidbit, every person that was involved in making the movie, all the way down to the crafty people, then you're gonna have a really good movie because everyone loved it. Everyone loved what they were working on enough to do their very best, so that when it was finished, the finished product was phenomenal. And you can see that even with the small little flaws, because just like you said, there's no such thing as perfection. But like the movie Tombstone and the movie Top Gun Maverick and the very first Avengers movie, I mean, different things like that. You're going to have mistakes, okay? Which is, I don't think there's a single movie that could give it a 10 because there was nothing wrong with it. It was a phenomenal all the way through. But when you see so many people get together that read the script and love it, and then the actors, they want this part, they're fighting each other to get these parts because it's something, a once in a lifetime script for them, things like that. And then you get a director, you got directors arguing about wanting it, telling the production company, if you can get me this script, I'll take less money, I'll do this, that, and they're all wheeling and dealing to try to get it. That's very rare, but then when you get it and it all goes together, it's like, you in the movie is seen over and over and over again and people still love it. That is rare today because you just can't seem to get that combination very often. That's why Academy Awards should be really worth something. You got to have all those things to make it.
Didn't they have a Tony Award? Janet, didn't they have a Tony Award recently that got rescinded because the lack of diversity on the cast that were involved?
I don't know. I remember something in the news about it, but hold on. I wanted to find this real quick because that was one of the things I printed out. Let me look through this paperwork about it winning. It was nominated for some awards. I was trying to remember which one it was.
My boss was trying to tell me about a project movie or a play or something that was supposed to get a Tony Award, and they yanked the entire set of awards that it was in the running for because it was just white people. And it's all right, if it's like BIPOCs or whatever, but heaven forbid you've got way too much Irish in your cast, nope, can't have that. Really? Now this movie hits me on a lot of high notes. The casting is great. The cameos are the only movie that I can think of that had better cameos than this is Austin Powers 3, which is a wonderful comedy for those of you that don't remember that.
I loved all the Austin Powers movies.
Well, the third one starts off with Tom Cruise playing Austin Powers, and got Danny DeVito playing I think Doc Evil, and everybody's in it. You got Steven Spielberg, and Austin Powers kind of says something to him about like how he's not a good movie director, and Spielberg's like, "Oh, look at my Oscars," you know.
Yeah.
And it's just a very wholesome, like the first 5 minutes or 6 minutes is nothing but cameo central with the best that Hollywood could show back in I think 99. It was fun to watch that. And it's fun to the same level of fun pervades in Maverick, because all of the various cameos that are here, like you got Margaret Kidder, you got Danny Glover, you have a bunch of people that are not Hollywood royalty, but they are probably the
yeah, wasn't it something Daniels?
yeah, mini
Not Jack Daniels, the Charlie Daniels.
Charlie
Charlie Daniels was the one who dropped the gun, and his wife and him both gonna get thrown overboard.
Yes.
That was him. And then you had Clint Black. Both of them were singers. And then you had other actors from other movies. The actor that played the bank owner,
Mm-hmm.
you know, he was a famous actor I remember from stuff, but I can't remember all their names. But there was just tons and tons of big name older actors. I think they were all like big actors. Maybe they were from different movies, and
they were all from like either Richard Donner projects, or he was affiliated with
Garner movies.
Yeah,
and James Garner stuff. That's what I think. That's what I was trying to look at the links, because a lot of these people were involved in other TV shows and stuff that James Garner was in.
And it was kind of because Garner was he was like a leading man for a lot of movies, but he really hit his stride with TV series.
Yeah, I mean, it was I don't remember when it was, but I started noticing more and more big actors that were stopping making movies and doing more and more TV, because it was a regular job. You know what I mean? It was and they were popular still. What's that one actor that's in NCIS?
Mark Harmon?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Jeffro. He plays Jeffro, right? Look how famous he is. He can't go anywhere where people don't know who he is.
No,
okay. And he was never really in movies. He was always on TV, and you know, he's a household name. And he ended up getting Pam Dauber as his wife. So, you know,
not a bad catch at all.
Yeah. So they've been married for a long, long time, and he's happy. You don't hear anything about scandals or anything like that. But the thing is, from TV, I mean, there's lots of actors like that. That, you know, a lot of the soap opera stars, you know, like, I can't remember, Jennifer Aniston's dad, he was on a soap opera. I think he might still be on a soap opera, but so you have lots of actors that have been on, you know, TV their whole career, and you know, they've made a really good living, and they've done, you know, besides TV, you're going to have commercials and magazines and whatever else around. But I found it. It says that this movie was nominated for an Academy Award for Best Costume Designs.
And I could believe that, especially whenever Jodie Foster's on screen, despite what she might say she is in real life, which I really doubt she's a lesbian. I know that sounds to be completely sexist. Call me completely sexist. I don't give a shit. I think she says that just so she doesn't have, and she might have a wife. I don't give a shit. There are other women that say that, and they just want no creepers to stalk them. And I could completely see that, because she's a beautiful person. She was a beautiful kid. As much as you guys are going to lambast me, when she was in Taxi Driver, you're like, oh my God, she's such a cute little girl. Oh my God, what is she doing in this film? Oh my God.
Yeah, I never saw the movie.
Oh boy, I'll have to watch that with you one of these days. That is an adult movie that Janet will probably not like. I don't
know. I've never seen it. There was a big uproar over it, but and there was another movie called Angel or something. It was about a girl that became a prostitute.
Yep.
And I saw that, and I thought that was a really sad really sad movie. So
not a happy movie, not a happy ending, if I remember right either. But I honestly believe that Jodie Foster was one of the most beautiful women in Hollywood in '94. The only person that could really compete with her, in my view, like that could just get you thinking like American wholesomeness and like this is American fertility and beauty in action. You have her and you have Bridget Fonda. Between those two ladies there, then any movie they were in the '90s was an instant hit. It was great. And I adore Bridget. Bridget Fonda is not so adorable now. Granted, I mean, she's time has not been kind to her.
well,
But
all I can say about Jodie Foster is that to me, she always was very classy. When you see so many people out when they're not on the silver screen or doing the red carpet and all that stuff. There's tons of stuff coming out about her being drunk or getting DUIs and just tons of different things and getting in trouble shoplifting, just stuff. And I don't remember seeing anything, not one scandalous thing with Jodie Foster. And when she dresses to go to these openings and these galas and stuff, she's always so in a classic attire, very ladylike. And I like to see men that are wearing nice tuxes and nice suits and things like that. And they're very classic, I like that. I think that's to me what every young person dreams, that when they if they ever get to go to Hollywood or get to be involved in that, that's the one thing they want. They want to be able to go to one of these big galas or
one of the premieres, an
event.
You want to look like a freaking Ken doll. If you're a guy, you want to go there and be fit and trim, have a good fitting suit, have a beautiful dame on your arm.
Well, they're not all perfect. I mean, I've seen women like I can't remember some of their names of their ex, but being heavy, or even the guys being heavy. I mean, like CeeLo Green, he's always dressed to the nines. You know what I mean? And he's a chubby guy, but he always looks like he cares about his appearance. He puts effort into it. And to go to some of these events, and it looks like everybody paid $1,000 for a pair of ripped up jeans, and then their hair's a mess and they look like they haven't slept in days. I mean, they just look disheveled and they don't look classy. They don't have, they look like they just left a bar and dragged themselves to their car and got out and came to this event. I mean, they don't look like they took any time out for something special. And
they look like Tim Allen at the start of Galaxy Quest.
I don't know. That's exactly right. But to me, that doesn't show pride in themselves to want to, it's like you tell a young person that, they went to college for 5 years. Okay. And now, you got the chance to get this job that you wanted. You worked 5 years in college to go get, and then their alarm goes off and they get up and they don't even brush their teeth or brush their hair. They just put their wrinkled up clothes they've been sitting on their bed on, and then they slip on their house slippers and they go to their interview. I mean, do you think you'll get your job dressed like that? I mean, to me, I don't understand that. So to me, you dress yourself up. You don't have to wear a collared tie, a bow tie, or whatever. You can just wear a nice collared shirt and a jacket and go, but show that you have a little pride in yourself, that you're going to take the time to make their business look well, you're going to do the best to promote their business so that you can work for them. And I just don't see that. I'm seeing more and more and more where people just have they don't care. That's what it looks like. It looks like they just don't care about anything.
I'm going to let you in on a little secret, Janet. There are some actors, like Shadow's talking shit about De Niro right now, because De Niro is a whack job. He is. But he's made a lot of money, and he's made a lot of money for Hollywood by making mafia films, and he's really good at it. So as much as I can't stand his personal politics, and they really get me pissed sometimes, I do like his movies. I do love the movie Heat. I do love the movie Goodfellas. I do love the movie Casino. You will never see me talk good about Adam Sandler. And as much as I appreciate Adam Sandler for when he is on like Saturday Night Live way back in the 90s, that's probably the last time I paid for his anything of his, because he put out a couple comedy albums about that time, and I've got them still. But he kind of ruined what you're talking about. Adam Sandler would go on David Letterman or on the Tonight Show, and he would be dressed. Well, first off, they'd be talking about Adam Sandler's new movie is getting ready to come out from Sony Pictures, is going to be releasing this film, and blah, 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 blah. And out comes Adam Sandler dressed in fucking t-shirt and sweatpants. I look classier barefoot in my game shorts, the shorts where they have the circle game there. Don't look at the circle. Don't look at the circle. You look at the circle. You lost. Adam Sandler looks so unprofessional. He killed the idea of Hollywood being cool for me back in the early 2000s. And it's not been cool for me since. Very rarely do I actually pay attention to modern day actors. And it's kind of disgusting to see Sandler go out and advert for a movie because he doesn't take it seriously. He looks like shit. And Sony keeps hiring him to go and do a movie. And well, it's really embezzling. It really is. Red Letter Media covers it pretty well. But, you know, the Sony Pictures is like, hey, Adam, go grab all your friends. We're going to do a movie in Hawaii. And so they send their best cameraman, and it's, the son of the cameraman and the son of the Sony Pictures, and like a bunch of important people with Adam Sandler on this jet with a bunch of Sony Vio products. And, they go out a really nice place and they film it in January. And like every time there's a scene, the Vio laptop is up and you see the Sony name on there and Adam Sandler standing behind it, and he's just reading his lines off the fucking computer. There ain't no way he did any sort of prep work on any film. Yeah, Papa's like, until Grown Ups, like he was doing pretty good crappy films. Now all of his movies are just shit. Like starting with Jack and Jill, ever since then it's been just this downhill. Like if you're swinging for the fences on like shittiest movies for an actor, Adam Sandler has got you beat very well. You have a long way to go. Even Barry Bostwick, my favorite C-list actor, he was in the movie Mask from like 1985.
Yeah, my favorite Adam Sandler, I think it's the same guy, is the movie Waterboy.
Yes.
Loved
classic.
Loved that movie. I loved who his mother was. Kathy Bates being able to play his mother.
You had the girl from Return from Oz.
I absolutely love that movie. I thought it was so funny. I thought it was comedic genius, and I just loved it. I just laughed my butt off. I thought it was really, really good, and I can't see anyone else playing his part for that movie.
He does a really good job as Waterboy, but that was in 1999.
Yeah, and I saw that at the movie theater, and I think I saw it a couple times, and it was so funny. The Cajun guy, he couldn't understand a damn thing he said. I have met so many people like that. You stand there and you're looking at them, and you're like, and you're afraid to nod or make any facial movement, because if you nod or you tilt your head or something, they might think you're either disapproving or approving, and you can't because you don't know what the hell they're saying. So you don't want to do anything. You just stand there and just stare at them.
Like an Arctic hare staying still. They won't notice you.
Well, no, they'll notice you, but you're not agreeing or disagreeing with them because you don't know if they're asking you to come over and sleep with them or come over for dinner, or you don't know what they're saying to you because you can't understand a damn thing they're saying. So I went to Vegas with a bunch of junior chamber members And one of them was one of these very Cajun groups of people, right? And they're there, and one of them had come in, and they had been, we were all like blitz, and it was in the afternoon the next day when we finally got up and went around. And one of them, oh God, he had such a bad sunburn. I was really worried he was going to die from sun poisoning or whatever. And he had his sunglasses, around his eyes, and he had that, that mark right here on his neck from the sunburn from having a shirt. He had a shirt on, and he was white, but his neck was just cooked really bad. I mean, he looked like he hurt real bad, but his fingernails were pink. Okay, but I didn't know they were pink. But he was trying to tell me that he had passed out by the pool, and that he was severely dehydrated. This is what he was telling me, but I didn't understand the damn thing he was saying because he had such a Cajun accent. I for the life of me, I could not understand what he was saying. And he was telling me about it, and I was like, I'm sorry, I don't understand what you're saying. And I kept shrugging my shoulders. I told him, I just can't understand. And then finally he holds his hands up like this, and his nails were pink. And then I was like, somebody painted your nails? And he was nodding his head. Yes. He had trying to tell me that he passed out. He had a bad sunburn, but his friends came out, and instead of helping him, they just painted his toenails and his fingernails pink and left him out there to die, basically, is what he was trying to tell me. And I could not understand anything he was saying until that. And then I started using that and putting pieces together, and I was able to figure it out. But it was funny, I did laugh about
I believe it.
But it tell you around certain people with a really, really Cajun accent, like the guy in Waterboy, with the overalls that was tweaking his nipples and stuff at the end. That's what they sound like. That is really how they speak.
I know.
The Buddha is the bio, like that. And you're like, huh? Whatever. I can't even do it, but it's I don't know. But they made fun of me all the time because we'd be going to a certain place, and I'd look at the sign, and it would say La Place. It's spelled place, La Place.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'd say, oh, we're going to La Place. And they turn and look at me and say, we're going to La Plaza. And I went, there's no Z in that. That's a C. And they went, it's Plaza. And they kept getting on to me. So finally, I just shut up and didn't say anything because, you're in a whole bus full of Cajuns. You just shut up. So
but
that's just the way it is.
I just, I love that movie Waterboy, but like Adam Sandler has taken the chrome for me off of the adrenochrome off for me from the Hollywood stuff, which I used to really enjoy watching. And I gotta say that, I appreciate him for what he did, but I don't like his new movies now. They just feel like they're embezzling money from Sony. And I'm okay with it.
What movies has he made? I mean, what are some of the new movies that he's made?
You're gonna make me go on IMDb.
Well, I'm just trying to think because you were saying they weren't very good, and I'm like, I don't even remember anything new in a long, long time. I mean, that one where he was like the son of Satan or something, Little Nicky or something.
Little Nicky wasn't bad.
I didn't like that. It was all right. It wasn't good as Waterboy, but it was And then there was another
bad, but it wasn't great.
Yeah, there was another one that came out, and it was this other guy that married the actress that was from the Brady Bunch. I don't remember what his name is, and he was like some famous model or something. I thought that movie was terrible. And all my friends were talking about how good how much they liked it. And I was like, oh, that was terrible. I thought it was awful.
But getting back to this, the reason why I kind of fell out of just following Hollywood was because of Adam Sandler and his stuff that he was doing, that he was looking like, he was preparing for, he was doing adverts for. Nothing was looking good. He had made so many things look like crap.
Like I don't even know what he's doing now. He has Puppy, a Hotel Transylvania short from like 2017. He was on the Chelsea TV series for a little bit. He did Brooklyn Nine-Nine for an episode, did Grown Ups 2 in 2013, which I did not watch. But before that, he was really involved with reliably not fun, not good body humor films. And Sony would use him, it felt like, to just embezzle money. And then he did like Pixels, Hotel Transylvania 2. He was in The Ridiculous Six, which was a bomb.
Was Pixels the one where the aliens came?
And they were all aliens from the Atari games.
Okay, yeah. I thought that was a great movie. I loved it.
Oh, boy.
I love that movie. I laughed my butt off. I thought the concept of it was just genius. I really liked that movie. Sorry.
I thought the script was lacking myself. I got stuck watching that because.
But you're a huge gamer, a real gamer that plays all these different games and hangs out with people with that play those games aren't gonna see it the same way. It's just like a person like you and me that love comic book movies, right? Yeah. Or we love comic books and we hate most of the movies because we think they suck because they're ruining what we see in the comic books. So I can understand why a gamer that's watching a game movie and they're tearing it to shreds wouldn't like it. But see, I can a lot of times I'm able to look at like I loved Morbius. I thought Morbius was great. I love Morbius comic books. And to me, the vision that they put in there, I could see my Morbius character in that movie and Jared Leto playing him. I could accept it. Just like I accepted Hugh Jackman, a humongous tall Wolverine, which I hope that one day they'd make a really good one with a short, stocky, ugly, hairy Wolverine like he's supposed to be in the comic book. Okay.
That'd be perfect. I'd be fine with that.
I would too. And I would have loved it the first time they did it. But I thought that Hugh Jackman worked hard to try to make his character believable. And I accepted it. But it's not everyone can do that. But it just depends on, like I love Daredevil on TV. I think the guy they got to play the character, the way he portrays the character, to me is very believable. Now, it just depends. It depends on something about the character that comes across to you in whatever it is you're watching it in, whether it's acceptable or not, because some people will like that and others won't. So, but the thing is, I don't fault anyone because like you're having a hard time dealing with Adam Sandler and something or whatever, or seeing something that you don't think is good, because I do the same thing. We all nitpick certain things, but I'm able to understand why you don't like something. You know what I mean? And I accept it that way.
Yeah.
And I feel the same way about directors or actors. Like when you have a director that says, don't read the comic book. Okay. I want to make my vision. That's wrong, because why make a comic book movie without
make your fucking vision?
That's just stupid. That if you want a character to make a movie about, then make your own. Why take something we love as a comic book reader and make it into a piece of shit that has nothing? It's not even resemble the name. They shouldn't get to use the name of a famous comic book character if it's not even going to come from where the comic book came from, the story. I mean, it just, that pisses me off more than anything. That's like saying, okay, we're going to make this whole movie TV series or whatever called, and we're going to call it Game of Thrones, but they don't even use the Game of Thrones. They go and they pick up some country western, okay, and turn it into Game of Thrones. There's no resemblance because that's not even the right story. And that's what they're doing. They're basically taking the name from this Star Wars and putting it on this piece of shit just because Star Wars sells. It has nothing to do with Star Wars, but that's what they're going to name it. To me, that's just stupid. It's just dumb, and that they're ripping off something we love and putting it. They're snaking a rubber stamp, and you're stamping everything with even turds. They're just taking turds out of the toilet, stamping it, and putting it on the shelf because they know someone will buy it. And apparently they are. They wouldn't keep making money. If people will quit paying for it, maybe they'll quit making the crap. That's what I want to see.
Yeah, Travis, I completely agree with you. I did not want to see the Punisher turn into a broken veterans fucking pitch. I get tired of hearing that from people I know. I've got a bunch of friends that have DV on their license plates, which DV is disabled veteran here in Texas. And I kind of get pissed off because a lot of times, hey, bud, you could walk an extra 300 feet from the parking lot. You don't got a parking handicap spot. You're still got 4 limbs. You don't need to try to accentuate the fact that you're 60% disabled. I don't care. But they do that. And the thing is that Punisher show could have been so much better if they had followed the formula for Daredevil with Matt Murdock and Charlie, what's his name? The guy that played Matt Murdock in that film, or in that 3 seasons of amazingness, I would be happy. They had a few flubs, but for the most part, they kept Punisher really close to the cut. They did not try to invent something new with Daredevil. They did not try to make him something he isn't. He's very flawed. He's very much an individual that, aside from his handicap, he does have some real issues that he will eventually have to have some sort of atonement for or work through rehab. Whereas the Punisher character, well, I was expecting a lot more out of him, and I got bored of it within the first season, and I never want to watch it again. But
you're talking about a TV series?
Yeah, the TV series, because you're talking about Daredevil.
I haven't watched
it. You said Daredevil.
Yeah. No, I know. I'm talking about the Punisher. Is what I was talking about.
Yeah, the Punisher,
the Daredevil TV series I thought was really good.
I don't know why we can't make more TV series like that.
They can if they follow the same concept of it. They take the character they love. Somebody sat down and wrote a script about it, or a story, a novel, or a short story, or anything, and somebody saw it. Okay. And they said, hey, this would make a great TV series. So they take it to another person, and that person says, yeah, this is really good. Let's write a screenplay. So then they sit down, they use the resource material that they had that inspired them in the first place. They write a script. Then they take it to a studio or someone else that works for a studio and says, hey, look at this great script we wrote from this resource. Wow, this is really good. Then someone else reads it, and then they say, let's get some money. So we get them backers, and they get the actors, and they find out where they're going to film it. And then the next thing you know, it's a TV show. That's how it's supposed to work. But nowadays, you get someone that says, hey, this is a really good book, or this is a really good story. I want you to read it. And then they say, well, I don't want to read it. Give it to my assistant. The assistant looks and says, yeah, this is really good. We could do something with it. Well, what does it have in it? And then that young person that's not really interested in it says, well, it has this, that, and the other. And they pick out certain things that might go with today or whatever, and they'll say, well, that sounds pretty good. Let's see a script, but I want to make sure it has a handicapped person in it. It has this and it has that in it. Okay, so then they start making changes to the actual story to fit in certain things that they think are important that they need to have in their show, because then they can promote that on their commercials and stuff for that. See, that's how it starts. Now, if you have a decent person that goes in there and says, hey, this is a great story, and then they say, well, what about this, that, and the other? Say, well, if you take this out, then the story isn't the story that we fell in love with. You see what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That's the problem.
That's the huge
the young
problem
people
today.
Or the person or taking it to the person wants to make it so bad. Like me. Okay, I write. Fine. I write something and I think it's a really good story, and I get someone to read it and they go, oh, I love this. This is great. Well, then the people that they get that say that they'll pay for it, but you have to make change to these characters. So I say, fine. What changes do you want? Well, I want the character to be gay. And I go, well, if it's gay, then it takes away this, that, and the other from their past. So now the character isn't the same character anymore because I have to change the things from the past in the story now to fit the character, to make the new character be in the right realm or whatever. You see what I mean? You have to make changes to it. So now the story is no longer the story the person read in the first place and liked. That's the problem, is they're making changes to something instead of just saying, fine, I like this concept, let's write our own story. See? Because there's nobody with talent to sit and write. So they'll take other people's stories, or they'll find someone that's a starving artist and they have a really good story. So they'll say, hey, we'll give you $5,000 for your story. And they'll say, okay. They take the money, then they take the story and they change it around a little bit and they make 3 blockbuster movies from it. And that person gets no credit whatsoever because they sold it outright for $5,000. So what I'm saying is they're all out for themselves. They don't want to share the names of anything, any new writers or anything. They want to bring in new people. They just want to take old stories and tear them to shreds and redistribute them because they don't want to share credit with anyone.
I'm so happy this movie was made in 1994.
Me too.
You have these amazing actors, which they might not be great people, but for their job, they do really fucking well. I really like Mel Gibson. I like Mel Gibson in 2017, in 2020. I liked him when he made Boss Level, which is one of the best movies of the recent era, since the Marvel movies came and ruined movies. And then you have this movie we're looking back on, Maverick, where you have people actually looking into how did people dress? How did people look? How did women try to appear to look desirable? How did men look amazingly dapper? And we have these movies here, this movie right here especially. Somebody said, you know what? I want to make a movie where we have the son of the main character of this old TV series and his dad, the main actor from that TV series, together doing things as they would. And here's how their life is going. What? The further adventures of what are you saying? And this movie couldn't be made today. As much as I would wish it would, because of the things you said. There's not enough handicapped people, not enough trans people, not enough POCs in this movie. There's not enough.
They made all these changes that only gay people can play gay people, only Hispanics can be a Hispanic, only, a person that's got an amputee, there has to be an amputee. And that's the sad fact about that is now you're making the acting abilities smaller and smaller. So let's say you have 10 people that come in for a part because they have no hand. Okay. But does that mean any of them can act? Okay.
Nope.
Just because they don't have a hand doesn't mean that they're going to be good for the part. Now, the TV series, darn it, American Horror Story, Freak Show. Okay.
Good show.
It was a great show. And they actually used real people with different body anomalies. They had like the real tattooed person. They had people with lobster hands. I mean, real different things like that. But they were very good at putting them in positions in the show to use whatever it was, whatever abilities they did have, because they were real actors. And the reason they were real actors is because when you do these shows, side shows and stuff, you have to go out and talk to people and portray certain things. And over time, you get better and better at it because it's like taking classes. If you're sitting and you're saying the same script over and over again, after a while, you start to ad lib a little bit and make it a little more natural. It seems more like it's something that you do, that you naturally do on a daily basis. So you become more believable. And that's what these people were. These people were able to portray characters from this freak show because that's basically how they felt like they were looked at in daily life anyways, because a lot of them were in different documentaries about themselves, about how they grew up and how they were treated. And I thought that the people that chose the actors to play certain characters for that series, they did a great job at being very selective and then writing stories around those characters so that they look the best they could possibly look for as actors. And I thought they did a phenomenal job at that. And that's what I'm talking about. When you want something bad enough and you want to work it, piece things together to where the story is believable with your own story that you made, it's going to be good if you have other people that are willing to work at it and see the vision that you have. And once you have that, it's going to be successful. But the sad fact is that the people at the top that are pushing their ideas down on the others, they're ruining it for everyone else, because after a while, the jobs are going to dry up because there's no money. When you're not making money, you can't hire these people to do all these other jobs. And that's who's going to suffer. It's not going to be the big wig up there, because he's still going to take his vacations and have his 4 cars or 2 houses or whatever it is he has. It's the little guy down there that's working for Crafty that's going to be without a job. See? And it's sad. All because I don't know why that some reason that these big companies think that they have to show us what's good for us, whether we want it or not. If that makes any sense.
Makes complete sense. We've got a hell of a group of people. We've been averaging about 10, 12 people throughout the entire stream today. I got to thank you, Janet. You came in here looking like just fire, and everybody's mentioned that in the chat. I don't know if you've been watching the chat or not, but Drew,
I haven't been able to figure out. I can read some of it now because you taught me how to do the thing to go back and forth from the private chat to the comments, but I'm still not very good at seeing it on YouTube to respond to people. So
okay.
I have to read what people are writing and say something to them.
No, the main thing is that, like, they were just amazed by your outfit. You look like somebody who was really wanting to honor this show.
I love these movies. The movies that I pick, whether you like them or not like them, I like them. And I've been disappointed. Like when The Cowboy Way, I was let down because when I did watch it the first time, I was in awe of the cute actors that were in it. And I didn't look at things the same way as I do now as I'm older. And your what you think you like when you were 20 goes downhill.
Yeah.
When you're 40, you look at it totally different. You're like, I thought that was good. Why? So we all mature as in our what we think is entertainment changes. You know what I mean? Or what we really love. So it's that's just the way it is. But I love lots of movies. I've sat in a movie theater and watched the movies with 3 people in there because everyone else got up and left. So that's just the way it is. But even if it wasn't perfect, I'm still going to get my money out of it. There's only one movie that I could not watch all the way. Well, 2 movies. Okay. It was one movie I left, and it was, I didn't see it at the movie theater, but I just got up and left because the room, I had to go to another room and watch it because they were watching this movie. And it was called Rabbit Test or something. It was really, really bad. I mean, I thought it was the worst movie I'd ever seen until what's that Roadhouse movie or whatever with Nicolas Cage.
Oh, Willy's Wonderland.
Oh my God, that was bad. That was so bad. I stopped watching. I turned it off because it was so bad. It was terrible. So there is.
Every time you say that movie, I'm sure it dies.
It's terrible. But did you like it?
Say again?
Did you like that movie?
Did I like what movie?
That Roadhouse?
No, actually, the better movie that's like that would be either the Banana Splits or that little 5-minute movie called The Hug. Willy's Wonderland is a really bad Nick Cage film.
and it needs to be roasted properly. We'll have to have a watch party here soon.
Oh God, I wouldn't.
I won't. I'm not buying for that fucking thing. I'm gonna scream it off of a high seas. But the movie The Hug, I think, is great. That's 5 minutes, and you get everything you're supposed to out of it. It's good.
The what?
The Hug, the one where it's set at a showbiz, and this kid gets up from his birthday party, and he goes over to the Big Bear. And the
that part.
Stay away. We've got to let him relax. We've had this thing on all day, and the kid's like, it's my birthday. I want to go see it. And the guy's like, just stay away from this. And he puts up a stringer and he ropes that area off. And then he walks off, and the little kid goes under the stringer and goes over to the thing, and he presses a button. And the beast, or the creature, the animatronic, is like, I'll give you what you want, but first I want a hug. And the little kid's like, whatever. And so he gives him a hug, and then like the kid starts to panic because it's not letting him go. Oh, that's one of the best. It's a 5 minute short. It's called The Hug. And if you want to watch Willy's Wonderland and how it should have ended, watch The Hug. It's 5 minutes of your Google search. It'll be worth your time. It's good. There was another movie put out called The Banana Splits, which that wasn't bad, but Willy's Wonderland was horrible.
Well, I wanted to see it because to me, I thought it was going to be like Five Nights at Freddy's.
Do you play Five Nights at Freddy's?
No, but I have been around with other people while they were playing it, and it was pretty creepy and stuff. So when I saw the trailer and stuff, the trailer was the only good thing about the whole movie. Because the movie was really terrible. The trailer wasn't so bad. It made it look like it was going to be a B-rate. I mean, I didn't expect it to be, an A movie like, Ghost Rider or something. But it was.
How far we have fallen from Christ.
It was really it was awful. I mean, it was really, really bad.
You're the first person in probably 15 years I've heard say something positive about Ghost Rider.
I loved it. I thought it was great. And I thought he did a good job. And the fact that they put the one riding the horse and then replaced him with one riding a motorcycle.
Yeah.
The concept of it and everything, I just thought was really good. And I loved who they put in the movie. I just thought it was very campy. It was great. I loved who the devil was. I mean, I just thought they did a great job.
I thought it was really good. I thought it was okay. I've never accused that movie of being great.
I mean, it could have been better in a lot of aspects, but I still thought it was really good. I mean, it was worth my ticket. That's how I judge movies. If it's worth the money that I put, out of my purse and hand it to the person to sit and watch it at the theater, then to me, it was worth my ticket.
Here's the thing right here.
Now, was it worth an extra ticket? Maybe not, but the first one was worth it.
What Travis just said there, was it true to the comic? If you find it to be true to the comic, you're going to get a lot of enjoyment out of it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know the comic. Okay. Tommy's like, it's not even close to the comic, buddy. And Bowsette chimes in. Ghost Rider wasn't bad. It was at least enjoyable. The second one was okay, which I never saw the second one. They fused Danny Ketch and Johnny Blaze into one character. That was what I keep hearing. I keep hearing that exact comment. Danny and Johnny were the same character. I don't think the comics are like that.
No, but I think I can see why they did it. I think they were trying to get both characters, that people like this character or this one, and bring both of them to the movie. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but see, like I said, I can see things that way. I'm not such a stickler that it has to be exactly like this, or it's no good. I'm not like that because I understand that anything that you read will never, and when you put it in your head, you're making a movie in there, right? And
Yeah.
nobody out here outside of your head sees what you have in there. So I don't care who you are. No one's going to be able to go in your head and put it on film. It doesn't work.
I will tell you where I loved Ghost Rider. Any scene where Nick Cage was doing a stunt, I thought that was probably the part of the movie where the director was like, we have to get this part right. We need more money. Anytime he was asking for budgetary situations, I feel like all that budget went into the stunt scenes. I know that sounds weird, but it just felt like that was the part of the movie that the director really felt beholden to. Maybe because he was a big fan of Evel Knievel from the 60s and 70s.
Mm-hmm. Could have been.
But I just felt like that was the part of the movie that meant the most to the director. When it came time for, Johnny Blaze to fight as the various individuals, he's like, whatever. Second director, you got the con. I'm going to go for a sandwich. And that's what it felt like.
The thing is, like the movie, The Thing, right? We both liked it. There was certain things about that I liked more than you did, and parts that you liked more than I did.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because we took from the movie what we enjoyed the most, and it was different scenes. The thing is because you had really good makeup people, you had really good prop people, and you had an excellent director that could work together and visualize things when they were talking about it and how they wanted to see the scene, right?
Yeah.
Now, when you get a stuck-up director that doesn't listen to anyone, doesn't give a shit, what the actors think or whatever, what do you think the movie's going to turn out like? It's not going to be very good. It's going to be his vision only. And I've heard a lot of you guys in some of the chat talking about certain movies that have to do with comic books and stuff that you thought sucked because it was this one director's vision of what they thought this movie should be. When you have a good director that listens to his prop people, to his actors about their vision of the character, to the other people that are involved. Some of even the producers say, hey, the reason I wanted to put money in this movie is because you said you were going to have this or you were going to do that. When are you going to do it? You see what I mean? So when you have other people that aren't scared to death to talk to the director, you might actually end up with something even better. And when you have a director that sits down and says, hey, what do you guys think? What do you guys think about this scene? What do you like? What do you not like? And they take a little more time to find out what other people around them think about it. Guess what? The movie's better. I mean, that's just the way it is. When you work as a team, it's a team effort to make a movie. One person, the director, is not the only one involved in making the movie. When you have all of them, like I said, the editing, the music, the acting, the costumes, the location manager, all the people working together because they all have a vision of what they want to see come out later on. You're gonna have something worth having, something people are going to go see more than once. People are going to spend their money to buy toys. They're going to buy T-shirts. They're going to, go see it at the movie theater more than once. They're going to spend their money on it because it's entertainment. See, that's the whole thing. And for some reason, now it's propaganda. It's not entertainment anymore, and it's losing everyone. So I don't care if it's got a little flaw here and a flaw there. If I can see the vision through it, even though it's not exactly what I wanted, I can still enjoy it because at least the people involved tried to show me a vision of what they saw in the story. See, and I'm able to look past that and be able to do that. And I'm not saying it's perfect, but it's better to have some vision of it than no vision of it at all, unless you can tell they're just tearing it to shreds because they hate it. They want to tear it down. And that's what I see today in most of this stuff.
Well, I got to ask you, what is the perfect Nick Cage movie?
I don't know. There's a couple that I really loved. I loved Con Air. I thought he was excellent in that movie, and a lot of people didn't like him in that. So, it just depends. And let me think what the other one would be. That's one of my favorites. So what's one of your favorite ones?
Everybody I know says The Rock, but I prefer Face Off.
Yeah, I think that's the other one. I have The Rock. I thought it was really good, but I bought it more for all the actors in it, not just Nicolas Cage.
Well, it's got
Face Off
the amazing Sean Connery in it. How could we not like that movie?
See, and I loved him in that one movie. It was called what was it?
Dragonheart?
The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. I love that movie. Absolutely loved it. I loved all the actors in it. I loved the story. And so many people said that sucked. I hated it, but I thought it was great. See,
there's parts of that movie that I really love, and there's other parts of it that I felt like they could have tried a little better to stay towards the script. But for the movie being just a movie, is it fun? Absolutely.
And that's what it, to me, that's what it was. I try to go see it as entertainment. And I try not to put anything else on it besides it being entertaining. And sometimes I leave and I'm like, wow, that was better than I expected it to be. And that's when you leave with that, I think it's even better then, because you're getting more from it than you expected. So try to go see it without high expectation. Don't go, oh my God, this is going to suck, because then you've already ruined it. Just go there saying, all I want is to be entertained. And if you can do that, you're probably going to leave with that.
We call that the Star Wars prayer. The Star Wars prayer is uttered right before the movie begins, and you say these words: please God, don't let George Lucas fuck up another thing.
But the actor that was in the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen that played Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, I'd never seen him in anything before that, but I thought he was phenomenal. The actor they got to play him. So, I
liked him, and I liked the guy that played Tom Sawyer. The Tom Sawyer kid was pretty all right. I thought he was a good addition. He was not from the comic or graphic novel, not to my knowledge, but he seemed to be a good addition to it.
Oh, and that's another thing I forgot to say earlier was none of my sisters will go with me to a movie if it has anything to do with comic books, because I can't help it. I nitpick the whole movie, even though I'd say it was really good, or I liked it or whatever. Like I said, I have lots of, it's not my favorite comic book, but I have lots of comic books, Ghost Rider comics. Okay. And, I have different ones because remember, I never bought just a whole series of comics or anything like that. I never did that. I always picked the comic by the story or by the cover, things like that. I'd see something on the cover, it was appealing to me, so I'd buy it and I'd read it. That's just how I read. I mean, it's the story pulls me in because of the story's name, or like the movie trailer, things like that. That's what draws me in. It's not a specific series. Now, I did buy certain comics like the Midnight Suns, and I bought the whole series because I wanted the whole story, but it was only 6 comics, so I could afford it. You know what I mean? I didn't set up to buy a weekly one that came in every single week until I was old enough to afford it, which was Wolverine, basically his origin series, things like that. And I special ordered them because I wanted autographs or by the cartoonist or by the writer, but when you're young, you're buying whatever you can afford off the shelf, and you're going to grab what that draws you in to the character, right? So basically that's how I collected my comics. I didn't have a complete series of this, a complete series of that. I got comic books given to me by my friends, or my dad would pick one out, or he would have one that he already had and said, hey, read this one, I think you'll like it. And the ones I always went to first were the vampire ones, like Morbius and Dracula and all that. My mom would took them for me because she didn't like that I liked vampires, but I couldn't help it. I really was into the horror genre. So when the Midnight Suns came out, I was like, oh my God, it has so many good characters. And it was this Morbius, and it had Hellstrom, and just, a plethora and Ghost Rider and just different people. And they were all fighting the dark arts. And that was even better. And I would absolutely love to see a good movie with based on those characters. But right now, I don't want them to make it because I don't think it'll be anything compared to what my imagination can make. And now I'd accept it to be half as good as my imagination, but I don't even think that they care enough about the characters to even make an effort to even make it a fourth of what I would like to see. So I'd rather them just not do it, because I'd rather not be upset that they took millions and millions and millions of dollars and just flushed it down the toilet because they hate my characters so much. They just want to see them destroyed. So I just rather them just not make it. And that may sound like a cop out, but that's how I really feel about it.
Well,
I'd rather not destroy it.
I want, if I could live in a perfect world, which we can't, and our world is sliding downhill further and further and faster and faster. If I could live in that perfect world, we would be having more movie situations like this, where you start to watch a film and then you realize 3/4 of the way through that, holy cow, I forgot this is a movie based in the world where the show was at. It's father and son. I forgot about that. And they honored that. They honored the previous show's history. And then Richard Donner's like, hey, anybody I've ever worked with, if you want a one-day cameo shot, come on in, we'll do makeup. And so they got like 2 minutes on screen, and it took them 7 hours to film. But you got a real high-quality movie here. Newer films really don't have this level of quality. And the problem is that we don't have people being vocal enough and telling Hollywood to stop making films. And how do you get vocal about bad movies or movies that are made in bad faith? Well, you just don't watch them. And as much as I love, the big people like Doomcock and Gary and G&G and all those, I as much as I appreciate them for doing what they do, I sure as hell, if I know that you're going to review a movie that I am diametrically opposed to the people that made it, I'm not going to watch your review. I'm not even going to watch it for the hate click. I'm not even going to give them that. I don't want them to have attention. The way you beat that, the way you beat this current motto, this current modicum of thought, this travesty of creativity that's going on right now, the way we beat it is to show them nobody cares about the garbage you're making. Maverick was a great movie in 2022. The Tom Cruise film was great for 2022 because it was a return to form. Is it a great movie? No, it's full of plot holes. We'll discuss that next year. But is it good for right now? Yeah, it's great, and it's a fun movie. I didn't say it was flawless, but it's a lot of fun. And if more movies could get behind that mindset and just go with it, just let it happen, Hollywood would discover that they can have billions again. But they're going to have to make smaller movies, smaller budgets, smaller, better films, not propaganda, not stuff.
Well, it's because they're focusing on going into streaming now, because I think that they've given up on the fact that they could ever have a blockbuster at the movie theaters anymore because of COVID and whatever else. But see, Top Gun Maverick proved them wrong when it came to that.
And it was great.
Yeah.
And then, you had the streaming war just happened again because they said, oh my God, the fans are clamoring for Willow because there's a couple of toy streamers out there that love the Willow show. And one of my favorite streamers is Laura Legends. She's funny and she talks a lot about He-Man because that was one of my favorite shows as a kid. And okay, well, Willow's coming out. Well, then the Willow show is absolutely terrible. It's just stunning and brave. That's all it is.
Yeah.
And after I haven't
watched any of it because I just had a bad feeling that was not going to be what I would want. So I'd rather not watch. Now I'm watching Yellowstone and I think it's great.
Everybody I know is watching Yellowstone and loving it.
Well, why are we loving it? What is it about it that makes it good? You see what I mean?
You really want to get into that? I mean, I thought we kind of covered that today, but okay.
Well, I know, but that's what I'm saying is the fact that if us spending our money buying stuff and not spending our money on stuff that we know is shit and telling our friends, please don't spend money. If you don't buy that or watch that or pay for that streaming service, they won't make money. And if they don't make money, they'll quit making that shit. And just like what somebody was making a comment about, I can't remember, it was a YouTube channel I was watching or what, and they were talking about, all these, certain people on YouTubers that we watch. I'm not going to name any names, but they go on and on and on to make their living, basically tearing all these things up, saying how crap it is. But the first thing you see on their post or whatever is that they're on their way to go see this movie that they know is going to be crap, so that they can make another video saying how crappy it is. But they're spending money on the crap, so they're going to keep making the crap because they keep making money off of it. And then when every time they make money or they make extra money on a movie, now I've never seen Captain Marvel, and I'm not going to pay for it because I knew it was going to be crap. And my Nick Fury is going to get his eye scratched by a kitty cat, shit like that. I just couldn't make myself go see it. When I found out a few things about it, I was like, I just can't do it. I'm not doing that to my characters in my comic books that I love. Just not going to do it. And I didn't, and I'm still not going to, and that people think I'm petty and stupid. My sister's like, it was great. I loved it. And I'm like, well, you don't read comics. So I'm glad you liked it, but I'm not going to give them my money.
And that's just like what Tommy said. I don't know who they're making these films for, because they're not making it for
people like my sisters that aren't comic book people, that don't know anything. They don't realize what they're going to see is shredded beat, basically. It's like taking a beautiful wedding cake that someone spent hours and hours on, making the icing perfectly smooth and just the beautiful delicate flowers and stuff on it, then taking that cake, putting it in a blender and making a drink out of it, and then passing it out. Everybody's drinking it thinking how wonderful it is because they've never had a wedding cake ice cream or whatever, and not getting to see what it was before they tore it to shreds and made something else.
I'm sorry.
I know, but what I'm saying is that's basically the only way I can explain it. Is that's what they're doing. They're taking something that was perfection, basically, and shredding it up, and then the people that are eating their leftovers aren't realizing they're getting leftovers. They're not getting the gourmet meal they could have had because they didn't know what they were getting. And that's basically the fact. That's exactly what it is. We are the artists, or the what do you call it? The person that can look at the art and see what it is, and then you have the people that are just taking the picture and putting it on a t-shirt and wearing it. That's the difference. We're the ones that want the real art, and these are the ones running around wearing the t-shirt with it on it, thinking that they have the best art when they don't.
As a man who's wearing another man's face on his chest, I can completely understand that.
Well, I'm just saying, you respect the art. That's why you bought the shirt, right? And you understand the story behind what's on the shirt. Another person just buys it. Oh, look at this funny guy on a shirt. You see, that's the difference between the view of what we're seeing and the quality of what we're not seeing. And they'll never understand it because they've never seen it. They don't understand what we've seen because they haven't seen it before. So, and they never will until they sit down and watch it. But see, now that they've watched that Captain Marvel and seen things that happen, do you think they can actually read the comic books and understand it and love it for what it was? Or are they going to say, well, this isn't right, this doesn't make any sense, because of now their vision of it is totally different, and they'll never see the vision they would have seen if they'd read the comic book. I don't know.
Which is weird, because Shadow and I both agree that one of the best comic book movies ever is The Watchmen. In fact,
I love The Watchmen. I have it on DVD.
Yeah, it's a fantastic film. But it's really weird because a lot of people I know that saw the movie first and then bought the comic, because apparently the comic was a bestseller. It's got to be good, right? And you read the comic and you're like, this isn't the ending I got in the movie. And then over a few years, like I've got the opinion that the movie is actually superior to the comic, to the source material, which a lot of people kind of get upset with me at. Okay, that's fine. Be upset. I also like the movie The Mist by Stephen King a lot better than the short story. I did not like the short story as much as I like the movie. The movie I felt was great, but I'm also a monster guy. If you show me monsters on a film, I'm probably going to be pretty happy if it looks pretty badass. And that movie did really good. And there's even a black and white version on the collector's edition for The Mist, where you can watch it like a 1950s monster film in black and white. It's great.
It's the same thing for me is when I read Cujo, I bawled my eyes out. And when I saw the movie, I loved it a lot better.
Yeah.
Because the little boy lives in the movie. He didn't live in the story. And so what I'm saying is it's rare, but you can sometimes get a movie that's better than the story was, the original story. It just depends on the vision of the person who's making it into a film and the person watching it, what they take from it. So, nothing's ever going to be perfection because nobody's ever going to make it exactly the way that you visualize it in your head when you've read it. So, and you're going to always have normies, people that have never seen the content of the story. So they're going to take it as for whatever it is that they're seeing on screen, and they're going to like it or they're not. So, it's just the way it is. But, so all we can do is hope and pray that more people that like comic books are the ones that make the comic book movies. I mean, I don't know what else to say. The guys that made The Boys, which I absolutely love. I love that series. So far, I've enjoyed it intensely. But the guy that wrote The Boys hates superheroes and stuff in real life. So, but it made him make a story that was basically turning superheroes into a bunch of assholes. But it made him his own story. So, and his story is good. So it inspired him to do it. And that's what he came up with. So, I mean, if it's inspiring, no matter whether we agree with it or not, if it inspires someone to do something more with it, then that's great.
Well, we're almost at 3 hours. I don't know if you realize this or not, Janet.
Oh.
Maybe
Yeah,
Janet.
I was like, man, now I need to go take some sinus medicine. I'm getting really stuffed up.
Well,
my allergies have been horrid. I don't understand why it's so bad.
Yeah, it's getting around the magic hour of 11 o'clock over here, so it must be getting a little bit earlier for you.
No, it's the same for me. Remember, I'm in.
I keep thinking that you're on Eastern. My bad.
It's all right.
I had a blast talking about everything tonight. We stopped talking about the Maverick movie probably around 90 minutes in, and I don't mean to make that a thing, but we kind of vary around a lot after that, and we did an amazing. Oh God, Tommy and the Guinea Pig Collective says, if you want to piss off Stephen King, go on Twitter and send him clips of Holly Jolly Christmas. He loves it.
Yeah, I bet he does.
Wookie says, King writes women extremely well. It's not surprising he's a flaming lefty feminist now. And Drew, beware the Drew. Great stream, you guys. Thank you, Drew. And I would like to direct people to Supreme Heretics channel. If you like anti Antonio Gramsci, anti Karl Marx crap, if you've got a mindset of clear-headed right-mindedness, and I know that sounds like, Bruce, you're one-sided. Well, okay, I'm lopsided. But if you don't mind diving into that big bowl of what the fuck did Alex Jones turn me, what did these bunny holes lead me into now? Listen to Drew and his cadre of panelists, including Janet from Another Planet, on Tuesdays. Because on Tuesday nights, he has a stream where he does it a little bit later than here, but they talk about a lot of pop culture and politics. If you don't mind that, if that's your bag, if you want to hear more people like women like Janet, if you want to hear that, I'm going to tell you to go sub to Drew. Let me grab Drew's link. Janet, aside from that, what else do you have going on this week? Janet? Did Janet just boom her out? All right, we'll give her a few seconds here. Just give me a moment. I'm going to pull up Drew's link. What? Oh, that's awesome. Thank you, Papa Cotton. All right.
Idiot. I'm so sorry. I was trying to open the chat, and I do it every time because I was gonna, and I did send the message, but when I tried to go back, I deleted myself.
It happens.
I'm sorry. I really want to learn how to do it, but I'm not very good at it. You were going to ask me something right before I got disconnected.
Yeah, I was going to ask you something, but what were you doing this week? You've got things going on. What is your? If people want more Janet from Another Planet,
I've got to get caught up on making some more videos, some more shorts, and I've got a bunch of stuff I'm working on. A couple little surprises I'm trying to get together. My sister's going to help me do them, and then I'm going to read some more of my story. And I've been asked by It's Tokyo to do something with him, so we're working on something for that. And that's it. And besides yours and Drew's channels, that's all I'm doing. And then just taking care of my chickens and stuff. My boring hillbilly life.
Hey! Stop that.
Well, now that I'm not in the city anymore, I'm now in the rural country folk area, Dry County, where nobody can buy alcohol. Oh, so takes a lot of getting used to, I'm telling you.
If you want to watch Janet tomorrow night, she's going to be on this channel at 6:55 p.m. I just had it up.
He's got a whole bunch of other really great people on his panel too. So
that's Eastern Standard Time for Drew there. That's going to be 7:55 for Central Standard, 8:55. No, 6:55 turns into 5:55. Yeah, then 4. But this is going to be on in the prime time hours. That's Eastern Standard Time, 6:55 p.m. So figure that out. It's going to be 5:55 for me and Janet. But that's going to be a hell of a show. And I heard he's got a big panel on there. Sorry, go ahead, Janet.
No, that was it. I just said that he's got a lot of other people on his panel that all of us interact and talk about different subjects depending on what Drew's going to choose to be on the talk about.
Janet, don't forget, like, it's okay if you boom her out like what you did. I do it a lot. Shadow does it a lot. I've seen my buddy Makini do it a lot. He boomers out.
I've been doing really good too, but oh well. I'm a human. It's like anybody else.
Shadow and Sun, if you're wanting to talk about Mutant Chronicles tomorrow night, how about we do it 9 p.m. avocado time? That'd be 11 o'clock at Central Standard Time. I want to talk more about the game than the movie. The movie was okay, but the game is where it's at for me. Yeah, and Bowsette, Janet lives in a dry county. 45 minutes one way to pick up whatever liquor it is that you need.
So, yeah.
Chickens are like cats, but tastier. I don't know. There's a Chinese restaurant that could give that one a good run.
I was going to say, I've never eaten cat that I know of.
Have you ever eaten, have you ever had a Chinese buffet?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you've probably eaten cat.
Well, I'm not going to tell you some other things I have eaten, so I won't.
Yeah, that's fine. If you live in Arkansas, I mean, I'm just saying that I'm thinking that it's
I haven't had roadkill or anything like that.
I wouldn't say roadkill, but I've eaten a lot of snake. I've had a few different rattlesnakes. I've had what do they call it? What's got the bands? The blue, red, white bands. The coral snake.
Mm.
I've had that before. It moved, so we ate it. And I've had various game like squirrel and rabbits.
Yeah, I've had squirrel and rabbit myself.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's other things. Oh, good night, Bowsette. Take care of yourself, hon.
Good night.
Actually, Bowsette do, guys, but Bowsette plays off as female, so it's a respectful thing.
Thank you for visiting us.
And Shadow and Sun says, okay, 9 p.m. your time. I'll be on your channel at 9 o'clock, Shadow.
I like what Travis just said. Roadkill is free meat.
It is. It is. If it's freshly done.
Now, I had some friends that used to. There was an animal park up on Wilhelmina Mountain, and they had an animal park up there with animals like bears and a couple of like mountain lions, some bobcats, and I think they even had a bear. You know, they was like injured animals that they took there and they recouped them, but they couldn't go back in the wild because they were like, I had different things that had to happen to them, so they weren't able to defend themselves anymore. And so people would find day-old roadkill and take it up there for them to have food for these animals. So, cleaning up the highway, but you're feeding some animals that used to live off these types of animals. So you never know what you can do with your roadkill.
I'm a big fan of snakes, actually. Around here, we have an abundance of those little slithering things. So you have a wild amount of tasty victuals if you know how to go after them. And I recommend anybody that's got the opportunity to eat rattlesnake to try it out. Called Freer, Texas. Freer. And you go there during their rattlesnake roundup. It's an actual festival, midsummer, and you'll have various meats available. And if you want to jump into a pit full of rattlesnakes to kill one yourself, you're more than welcome. I won't.
No, thank you.
Yeah, but I
have heard of it. I've heard of that rattlesnake roundup, and it's a lot of people. It's a good tourist thing.
It's a hell of a tourist thing. You get people from all over coming to this stupid rattlesnake roundup. It's like about 300 to 500 people there, and they're not all townies. Like the town is maybe 10,000 people, but you get like 500 people thronging the streets, and it's weird. Oh, hello, Fat Steven. Thank you for the $2 Canadian $2. Bruce is the sexiest Colonel Sanders ever. Thank you, sir. He says, I don't spoon with me anymore. Well, Steven, come on, man. We got to get together more often. I want to play more Fortnite. I don't have time, but I want to play more Fortnite. I'm already taking up too much screen. Hold on. Let me fix this for you. There we go. How's that? How's that for you, Papa Cotton? I've given you what you want. We have Miss Janet as majority shareholder. Tommy and the Guinea Pig Collective, have yourself a great night, sir. We're going to wrap this up. Aside from having a Merry Christmas, because that is the reason why we're off on Monday, because Sunday we have Christmas, Birth of Christ. One of the greatest events ever to happen to the planet. Not the greatest. The greatest would be the day he hung on a cross. That'd be Easter. But I'm going to tell you that aside from having a happy and Merry Christmas, I want you all to just do what you can to not give in to your negative emotions so much. I mean, it's that time of year. It's easy. We've got our family coming over and, hey, let's talk politics. Don't. Just find a better way to expend what time you have between the time where you're sleeping, okay? You're not gonna, if you can avoid getting riled up and just making your heart race for no reason, do that. If you can find a healthy outlet like exercise, I know I need more exercise. I'm going to say that do yourself a favor. Spend the time you've got with people that appreciate you. And if you've got close family that doesn't appreciate you, if you can build a bridge, do that. It's a time of year where you want to do that. You don't know when the last time is you're going to be able to see somebody. And I'm in a community where we all report like weekly to each other what's going on. And we just had another death in our close affiliate group here this last week, but nobody on the web, thank God. It was just one of my vet buddies that's living here in San Antonio. Just another 22 guys. So do yourself a favor. If you've got problems, and everybody does, find a couple people, talk to each other. It's okay to unload. It's okay to cry, and just like let it just get done and over with. But don't bottle it up and then one day be staring at your freedom seeds too much and do something wrong, because you don't want to do that. You can't come back from that. It's not like you respawn. My poor camera. I'm telling you this because I don't want you to go out in a bad way. I want you to persist. I want you to persevere. All of us have these mountains to climb in our lives. They're not going to be easy. They're not going to be gentle to us. But the alternative means not doing anything at all. It's going to be better if you have somebody to talk to. Anybody out there that's in your close affiliate group that you haven't heard from in over a month and a half, or for some of you, it's over a year, call them, send them a text. I was thinking about you. How you doing? And maybe you'll hear back from them. Maybe you'll open up a conversation to where you have somebody that needs your ear right now. And it might be inconvenient to you to listen to their problems, but it's going to be a hell of a lot better for you to do that and be an adult and listen to them as the friend you're supposed to be, friend or family, rather than have to go attend a visitation. That's a bad alternative. Anyway, that's all I got to say. Like Travis just said, Jesus loves you. Give it to God. That's the best you can have sometimes, is you can't deal with this problem. It's bigger than you. Just admit it. That sucks. That's horrible. But if you try to deny that, you're gonna be looking at those freedom seeds like, I could put one of you in my head and this is over. And that seems like a good idea. That's not a good idea. Don't do that. Don't do that. I want you to persist. I want you to keep going. I want you to persevere. If you need help, say to one of your friends, when your buddies, hey, I need fucking help. Because if you're not able to do that, you're at a really weak spot. And that's not a good place for you to be. Just reach out. Somebody's going to be there for you. Janet.
Yes. I was just going to say that everybody needs to just take their arms and hug yourself every day, because you're worth it. That's what I do to myself. But, really, you think about it, because all the people that you love that you can't hug, you can hug yourself and wish them a hug, because they're in your heart.
Yeah.
Because, it's going to be another Christmas without my mother, which has been really harder on me than I ever thought it would be. So I understand where Drew's coming from. And anyone that's lost a loved one, it's not just mothers, but brothers, sisters, grandparents, you know, someone that's been really close to you. It's tough. And it seems like it becomes amplified on a holiday, because normally holidays are when you spend, you know, that quality time with the people you love. And when they're not there, you miss them. And that's why it seems like it's worse during the times when you would spend time with your family for a special occasion. So these are the times that you need your friends more. So just lean on your friends, lean on your neighbors, your online friends.
Yeah, if we're all you got, there's nothing wrong with that. We're not a bad crew of people.
And even though I'm not with you, you know, in the flesh, you know, where I get to see you, if you send me a message on Discord or Twitter or any of my other applications that I'm on, I always try to respond as, you know, fast as I can, you know, as soon as I see it, because either I'm on my computer or my iPad or my phone. And I do respond. I mean, you can talk to anyone on my Discord. I've talked to lots of people. And if I see that you've posted a song, I'll comment or I'll like it, or I'll post a song, you know, things like that. Because music to me is my way of making myself feel better. I listen to music all the time. And and I sometimes listen to sad music because it makes me cry and get it over with. Or I listen to upbeat music while I'm cleaning my laundry or mopping the kitchen or washing dishes, things like that. So it just depends on what it is that you need. Just do it. Just try to make yourself happy with something is your favorite food or a great old movie. Put it in and make some popcorn and enjoy it.
And if you
Just because you're by yourself doesn't mean you have to be bored.
and a lot of you don't use Discord as often as others do, but I want to tell you that if you ever are in Janet's or my Discord and you see the little TV screen popped up, come on in. Be a nice way for you to chill out for a while. Maybe laugh or just be in awe of something. Maybe you'll see something you haven't seen before. With that, I'm going to post out. Janet, go on ahead and close down the theater.
Thank you for joining us tonight. It was fun. I love this movie. I recommend that you watch it if you haven't seen it. And even if you have seen it, watch it again. I laughed a lot. It made me feel good. It brought back memories of me and my mom watching it. But it's a good movie. It's funny. It's got romance and a little bit of naughtiness going on. But it's a lot of fun. You'll really enjoy it. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Thank you for being here, guys. Be well. Look forward to seeing you in the next couple of days. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to you if I don't.
Yeah, Merry Christmas.